We're playing the demo from Mushroom Musume, which is it's like a raising sim, but with mushrooms and anime mushroom girls. I don't really have much to say about this. I think it's pretty straightforward and this title speaks for itself, so let's just start. Once upon a time, there's a humble recluse. Though they had no need for society, they did often find themselves home to a loneliness that they could never quite shake. In the morning, the sun would rise. At night, it would set. The recluse would observe the splendor, knowing that the sight would be made all the more beautiful by having someone to share it with. It wasn't that they had desired a relationship. Perhaps it was a flame that had burned them one too many times. Or perhaps they were simply disinterested. By the way, there's I think there are maybe dark themes in this game, and also mushrooms doing mushroom things, so you'll be warned. No, a child. That's what they wanted. Someone to take care of, to teach. Unfortunately, it was a longing that could not be found, not in these woods, alone. I mean, there are plenty of children that wander into the woods, though I don't think you should be taking them. However, we are never quite as alone as we think, are we? One day a witch appeared, as if drawn by the intensity of the recluse's desire. The slumber that the recluse had spent the morning gathering slipped through their hands as they spotted her, the witch of the woods. She began to speak. You desire a child, yes. For some, those are quite easy to come by. But not you, it would seem. Let us make a deal, then. If you do 3 simple chores for me, I will present you with a daughter of your very own. The recluse, caught up in a moment of naivety, quickly agreed. Daughter checklist. The witch, knowing that the recluse was destined to accept, simply nodded and began to deliver the first of these so-called chores without hesitation. Your child will come into this world with little to her name, let us even the scales. Bring me an heirloom, something she will forever value. The recluse thought on it briefly, searching through their home for the object they had pictured. A dark weathered tome, or a glimmering music box. Your most used cast iron skillet. This is gonna go great. Passed down from generation to generation, the skillet's seasoning had never once let an ancestor down. It wouldn't let their daughter down either. It will serve her for her entire life, and with luck, she will live on to pass it to someone else too. Bringing their prize back to the witch, she simply gave a smile. How perfect. After the brief detour to meet with the witch, the recluse resumed their normal day-to-day schedule. The second day, the recluse slept more soundly that night than they had in ages. Having a purpose again soothed them, even if they had found themselves caught up with a witch. They elected not to think about that though. Instead, when the morning came, they simply did what they had to do, which is to say they got up and went to meet with the witch. Upon watching the recluse's approach, a sardonic smile lit up on the witch's face. You completed your first task admirably. 2 more and I can finally give you what you want. She paused for only a moment before delivering her next message of importance. There have been some activities I've been meaning to get to. Perhaps you could make yourself useful and cross one off the list for me. Not realizing that they were simply saving the witch some time, the recluse determined which task they were most suited for. Test a selection of elixirs for quality, attend to the certain matter of a noxious laundry basket. Oops, I didn't mean to click on that. There's no back button. Hidden away in a dusty corner of her hut, the recluse found a forgotten basket of laundry that had been left stewing for who knows how long. Dealing with it took most of the day and left them with a lingering cough, but resulted in an unrivaled sense of accomplishment. Molding! Arriving back to their meeting point, the recluse was excited to report their progress to the witch. Ah, very good, how kind of you. After quickly wiping themselves down, the recluse returned to their hut for the remainder of the night. The third day. With 2 assignments complete, the recluse could feel their excitement grow. If this witch was being honest, and for some reason they felt that she was, then that meant this could be the last night they spent without a child. They hoped so, at least. That was all they could do. Barely remembering to get dressed, the recluse dashed to the meeting spot. Again, the witch had been waiting there for them. Welcome back, recluse. Are you prepared? Today is your big day, is it not? The last task is an easy one, or at least I believe so. Bring me something colorful, something bright, that you think will suit her. What will actually save this time? When they were first told of the 3 tasks, the recluse had imagined things that were much more difficult. This seemed so easy as to be a trick, which they suppose only meant they should take it seriously, as if a mistake could mean death. With death in mind, the recluse needed to decide where to search for color. A field of flowers, a stony river. Sure, a stony river. It's gonna go well, right? Though, underwater wasn't the first place that most people thought of for color. The recluse understood that there were many shades that people failed to consider. Pebbles. They arrived at the nearby river, glancing into the glassy water to spy a variety of small shining stones. Turquoise, prize symbol of luck and fortune. A strange, almost bloody stone. Marble, the pale proprietor of possibility. Brimstone, a yellowed alchemical wonder. Obsidian, dark, glassy ghost of ancient fires. This one sounds edgy. We're going with this. A small black orb was the object of the recluse's interest. Obsidian could be sharper than any steel and hold within the terrible beauty of night. So our daughter is going to have a cast iron pan as a weapon. She's going to be moldy. And she's also going to be edgy. This sounds great. I am so ready. And the ferocious anger of flame. See? The flame is a cast iron pan. There's flame involved. And I guess there's mold too, which I don't know how that fits in, but I guess, cheese. Melted cheese. So many possibilities, such capacity for their daughter. It was perfect. Discovered black. The recluse returned to the witch's hut, colored item in hand. She silently took the object, nodding her head to the recluse in recognition. The recluse stood there for a moment, unsure, before finally the witch realized what they expected. Oh ho ho, you want your promised daughter, don't you? Her voice was almost mocking, but at least it was not overtly cruel. I suppose I must tell you I lied, human. I do require several more trifling things from you. First, it's a matter of payment. The recluse should have known that everything is for a cost. Pay me now with wealth. Pay me now with life. Pay me sometime sooner in larger quantities. Pay me at a much later date in the way I choose. Sure, who do you want me to kill? They told the witch they would offer life as payment. Certainly. Stepping forward, she took them in a cold yet not unkind embrace. Wait, are we dead? They awoke hours later with an uneasy feeling that something was missing. The witch was still there, waiting for the recluse. With the payment... What was that? With the payment settled, the witch simply smiled and handed the recluse a small pot. Humans are tricky, but mushrooms are much more resilient. Consider this an upgrade. Don't worry, eventually she will develop a mind. Simply give her time, as much as she needs. Soon your wish will be in full bloom. I suppose, with all that settled though, there's one last thing for you to consider. A young girl needs a proper name. The recluse sought on the witch's demand before offering the final thing they had to give. Inkcap. Cause I think that's the type of mushroom, right? And we chose black. Cause it's edgy. Then she walked away, only fate knowing if the two should ever meet again. Chapter 2, Cultivation. The recluse wasn't sure of the specifics. They did realize that it was important to heed her instructions. Care for the pot in the dirt and everything that lay within. So the recluse geared up as any parent should and assessed the things they needed to raise a child. Finances, in case a nearby village had goods or services that you could not provide. Nutrients for the child to help it grow strong. You'd need plenty as it would be depleted on a daily basis. And finally, the recluse's own stamina could not be ignored. One cannot burn the candle from both ends indefinitely. Thus began the longest growing season of the recluse's life. Saving game. Oh. The day's gotten away from you already. The sun's gentle descent is being swallowed behind the force's reach. You weren't able to finish everything you set out for today, but you only have time for one more chore. Barter for some fine substricts to better grow your daughter. Finish a favor the village's later asked of you. You've already worked hard to retire to the tavern. Purchase new construction materials for your hut. This decreases our finances, this decreases our stamina. We'll finish the favor first, I think. Info? Black mushroom. Potted molding. An unpleasant mold seems to persist despite your best efforts. Whoops. She's your daughter after all, even if she doesn't always look like much of one. If your daughter's well loved, she'll be able to improve at things more quickly. Finish this favor. Doing favors for the leader is comfortable to you. It allows you flexibility while still giving you some funds. The day is no different from usual. You've hurt some cats for their leader and in exchange, they pay you. How novel. Your tasks behind you. You and your daughter return home. Each do a nice bath and a simple dinner. You haven't been taking very good care of yourself and you find yourself so worn out that even leaving the house is a challenge. If you continue on without regard for your own stamina, you might very well die. Stay in bed. You'll be no use to your daughter in the States, so you decide to stay the day resting. Sitting in bed, you think about your daughter and all the tasks you'll get done tomorrow. Decision being made, life continued. What is this anyway? Mushipedia. Flower colors. I'm gonna be honest, it's kind of hard to see. Daughters grown? LBM? What does that mean? Endings discovered. Number of living daughters, number of fallen daughters. What? It's a lot of stuff. It's really hard to see, so I'm also going to put this up. because I can't hear it. I'll fix it, like, for you guys, but, like, I couldn't hear it, so, Decision being made, life continued. Huh. Something's happening. It's like a Pokemon. Was it mushroom creature? Gain trait mushroom creature. Her daughter's changed in the night. One day you find your daughter has left her pod and now hops around your home with determination. The creature jumps about with ease, with clear intent now visible on her new face. Her demeanor seems active and brazen, often finding herself engaged in troublesome play. Encourage her boldness, spend time nurturing her environment. You decide that now is the best time to promote her growth, spending extra effort improving her living conditions. Your daughter seems to appreciate the attention and emotes cheerfully. The decision being made, life continued. One evening, you hear a light knocking at your door. Quite a rare occurrence. We're not gonna get burned, Rory. Peeking through the window, you witness none other than the Witch of the Woods standing on the doorstep of your humble hut. Underdeveloped and feral? Boy, that's scary. What's this? There's a special gleam thing. What? It's not done growing, not yet. She needs food. The mushroom has grown some extra limbs and is a bit more ambulatory than you'd expect. Whoa. Every time I see Witch of the Woods, I keep thinking Chicken of the Woods. That's like a type of mushroom, right? Chicken of the Woods. Could she be here for a visit, or just settle with that? Introduce her to your daughter. Speak to her about your daughter's health. Privately, request a stipend. It's like, I broke, help. Introduce her to my daughter. Perhaps it was time for your daughter to meet the witch. She could maybe even learn a thing or two. The two of you answer the door and invite the gloomy woman inside for dry and awkward small talk. Like, why are you here? You showed up, you're stuck here with us now. Something about the way the two absently stared at each other. You wonder if they made some sort of connection today. The decision being made, life continued. Mystic bond. You have developed some rapport with your creator, the Witch of the Woods. But she's underdeveloped and feral. She's still feral. While sitting at home one day, you hear an unexpected knock at the door. Unfortunately, when you go to answer, you find yourself face to face with a man that you never wished to see again, though he was older now. The scar running down his cheek was unmistakable. It took me a while to find you this time, recluse. The sound of his voice sends a long, forgotten chill down your spine. This man is your former business partner from a time when you did work that was less than admirable. I'm sure all this time alone has given you plenty of time to reflect. Are you finally ready to get back to business? No. I'll just kill him. Some things will never be over until, well, they're over. Yeah, I hoped it wouldn't come to this. Yet you feel as though there is no other option. You invite the man inside and offer him a seat in your main living area, then excuse yourself to prepare drinks. And unfortunately for him, he'll never drink again. Before the man begins to suspect anything is wrong, you take a straight-edged razor and slit his throat from behind. Murder! The blood falls like a red sheet down his body. When you look up, you realize that your daughter has been standing there watching this whole time. Whoopsies. She doesn't react strongly, but you fear this may leave an impression on her regardless. Oh. I don't know. You're fine, right? Something's happening. Your daughter has changed in the night. Child. Despite a rocky introduction, your daughter is as civil as any human child now. One morning, you notice that your daughter is nowhere to be seen. After an hour of searching the nearby area, you find her standing perfectly still in a dense stand of trees. To your surprise, the creature had now taken the form of a young girl. You feel relieved to confirm that the witch hadn't betrayed you. As you approach, she turns and acknowledges you silently before continuing to carefully watch her surroundings. Buy her a nice gift to celebrate. Tell her it's time to go home. We need more nutrients. Is this nutrients? I hope this is nutrients. You do wonder why your daughter has such a silent intensity, but decide not to disturb her. Taking a seat near her, you appreciate the beauty of the forest and spend time thinking lovingly of your daughter. After several uneasy minutes, she simply turns and walks in the direction of home, seemingly finished with her quiet watching. Dang. The decision being made, life continued. Your daughter needs food too, and you've just run out. You need to find something to feed her soon, or she'll surely starve. Feed her the body of our former business partner. You spend the day foraging and digging in the woods, return with a heap of mushroom food for a hungry daughter. It's a little hard to be sure, but it seems like she's thankful for your efforts. The decision being made, life continued. You realize you finished all your work for the week and have a whole day free. Take your daughter on a scenic hike. Teach your daughter some important lessons. Spend some time cleaning up. Take your daughter to see the Witch of the Woods. Don't think she wants to see us. Take her on a scenic hike, because that's cool. You decide that your daughter should know the land as well as you, if not better. Showing her the sights seemed to inspire her. She seems more like herself here. You struggle to take her home, but eventually do. The decision being made, life continued. Was this supposed to happen? As the days pass you by and your daughter continues to grow, a certain unpleasant malady of hers continues to grow as well. Despite your best efforts, patches of mold have been appearing more and more, growing shapeless blotches over an ever-increasing proportion of her body. Your desperation to help her intensifies each night, and you spend night after night racked with concern. One morning you awaken to an unpleasantly overbearing aura of decay and find that the worst of your fears has come to pass. The voracious mold has bloomed en masse, blanketing every inch of her in nosome fungal fuzz. Her form obscured by the mass of mold, a slight struggle stirring, reveals that she can still move, although barely. Clutching her, despite the noxious miasma, you pull your daughter close and attempt to somehow keep her together even as rough clumps of black-colored mold fall to the ground with gentle thuds. A new beginning. You didn't realize it was weird at first. Even now, you would feel pretty normal if it weren't for the recluse's deep concern. This mold you feel is part of you. As it blooms, you feel yourself blooming too, becoming more. Blooming, decaying, dying, and living again. Seamlessly, the two of you change shape together until you can see your parents' face again. Their shocked expression softens into something like acceptance, and they grab your shoulders firmly, as if confirming you still have a solid form. And just like that, your normal life continued. The recluse, as ever, adapted to your changes swiftly, and the memory became just another of your strange daily adventures. Eventually, you felt the need to tell your parent that you were ready to go out and find adventures of your own. As they grew older, you worried about leaving them on your own. Thankfully, your concerns were unwarranted. They were happy that you had grown enough to want to move out. They even offered to help you build your own home, close to theirs. You were welcome to visit anytime, obviously. Faster than you would have anticipated, the two of you built your home together. They showed you all the tricks they knew and made sure to impart as much knowledge as they possibly could. Finally, the day arrived. You were officially on your own. You were scared, a little, but also excited. It felt like a new chapter was just beginning for you. Gain trait loving parent. Inkcap, common black mold. Grow their own. You're awoken in the middle of the night by a loud crash from your kitchen. You scramble to investigate and finally catch the source of the racket. A sickening mold, otherwise unremarkable, but she's cute. That's what matters, right? Your body shrivels and decays over time, falling apart. Your body refines itself when you're in stressful situations. Life rarely works out in your favor. Like an event. You met with a terrible fate, haven't you? Well... she's not a very good person. She also kind of... is very good. Dang. Relative obscurity. People don't think much about you. You have grown into a young woman unexpectedly. I mean, we are not doing so well in terms of our conditions, but I guess it's okay because our parent is there. You were awoken in the middle of the night by a loud crash from your kitchen. You scrambled to investigate and finally catch the source of the racket. A man hunched over in pain in the middle of your cooking nook. He spots you and seems to panic, waving his hands around. Pan! 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 Wait, it's not what it looks like! Hit him with the pan. Well, it's exactly what it looks like, but I injured myself and no longer pursuing that plan. Why don't you bless a poor fool and choose to excuse my rudeness? Save. Excuse his rudeness. An injured thief is still a thief. Kick him out. Could be nice. Osai, you helped the man to a more comfortable seating situation. It appears that he may have injured his leg somehow in the fall. After a short while, he seems more comfortable moving around. Thank you kindly for the help, ma'am. He seems appreciative and shockingly charismatic. He gives you a slight grin and a wave before leaving you to your own business. He totally stole something, didn't he? Oh, he didn't. While wandering... what's potency? We just have really high potency. I don't know what that means. While wandering the woods near your home, you suddenly hear something rustling in the foliage ahead of you. Before you can react, a large boar bursts from the bush and locks eyes with you. You sense an intense flaming aura of determination emanate off this wild hog. Run for your life! You sure you came prepared for this? It's just a pig. Face it head on. If it's a snack you want... What does it mean? We can pay. We have 3. Kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it. You stiffen your stance and ready yourself as the pig charges to the large swine. Hits you in the stomach, but that was just what you wanted. Grabbing either side of the pig, you use all your strength to lift it off the ground, twisting back into a perfect suplex. Oh my god. squealing as it struggles to its feet. The beast flees, defeated, and you head home feeling tougher than before. We are, in fact, feral. Oops. Walking around the village one day, you overhear a gaggle of fun-sized humans giggling their time away. You gradually sneak up on them and get close. Remarkably close. They don't really seem to care that you're there. Hey, wait, are they ignoring you on purpose? There were some fleshies. At least you can listen in to whatever seems to be so engrossing. How much? One of the kids exclaims, her jaw dropped in sheer awe of another kid whose chest is proudly puffed out. With a grin, the child reiterates, enough to buy 3 bags of candy. No fair! Another child cries out, when I lost mine, all she brought me was enough for a hoop and stick. The other kids looked at the child with pity. Hoop and stick was so last season. Well, anyway, the boastful kid continued, I have another one loose, so I can expect even more candy here soon. Talking about like losing teeth. That's not fair, I won't lose a tooth. You're younger than me, what gives? It's probably because of all that candy, one of the kids said. Getting met with only a shrug for the proud child as he snacked on his treats. Whatever, I'm gonna go home and pull my tooth out myself. And when you see me next, I'll have 4 bags of candy. The girl stormed off, determined to come into some coin of her own. Which is odd when you think about it. Do these kids get money for their teeth? Do they sell their other parts? You wonder briefly about the value of a kidney when you hear one of the gremlins shout, be sure to put it under your pillow. Aha. You realize there's a caveat. One must need a tooth and then store it under their pillow. And then, honey, last time you checked, would you consider your teeth grow back after some time? This could prove to be a lucrative venture. At length you arrive home and find yourself less certain about this than you were in the village. It's not like the fun-sized humans are known for their honesty. You pause a moment and think. One tooth won't kill ya? Go for it. Decide against it. Nope. We only have one nope. I mean, tooth isn't gonna do anything, right? It's not gonna kill us. I'm gonna hope it's not gonna kill us. Not wanting to put in any more time in attempting to convince yourself otherwise, you reach up into your mouth and grab hold of what passes in your body as a tooth. Slowly, steadily, pressure builds as you pull, and then... nope. A tooth broke off easily. Like a bar of chocolate, but oh my cilium, so much worse. Regardless, you're now in the position of a detached tooth and are eager to see what comes of resting it under your pillow. I don't think there's gonna be anything good. You snap awake in the middle of the night, your first thought being of what lays beneath your pillow. But when you check, you find nothing, not even your tooth remains. So, use awake then. Eh? A small voice chimes from the center of your room. What? Glancing over, you spot an ill-tempered fairy and their few companions. See, here's the thing. You put a tooth under the pillow, all fine and fair, till that tooth turned out ain't be a tooth. The group of fae all stare you down. You suspect it's for the best to remain still and listen to the big palooka up front. Now, a reasonable guy, I clock in, clock out, and I don't want no trouble, no how. But the issue here is that the boss lady ain't too keen on these types of shenanigans. Now, I could see you're just an innocent mush lady, so this ordeal can be overlooked this time. Unfortunately, we aren't able to give back that tooth of yours. Company practice, capiche? Okay. What's this? Okay. But yes, that's how teeth work, at least once. You got your baby teeth and your adult teeth. No, they kind of just grow back. They what? The fairy appears incredulous, and his companions volley fascinated whispers between themselves. Says got a replenishable supply? He shrugged. Essentially, you do. It's not particularly pleasant to lose teeth, but it is technically doable. The fairies all pause for a moment, the gears noticeably turning in their minds. Sorry for any unpleasantries earlier. Boss lady just really wanted the message clear, you know? But she did also have the fairy glanced at his companions, with each in turn offering blank stares. She's got a particular taste, it would seem. What did he just say? Oh no, you like eating teeth? You know, shaved over some food, it's like a nice mushroom powder. And you know, if you've got a seemingly infinite supply, The fairy begins fidgeting on his person as companions all seem suddenly much more intrigued by your abilities. Here, take this. The fairy pulls an adorably small business card from his pocket, handing it over. We're doing deals with the Fae now. What the heck? Look it over. The words on the front and on the back, it seems. Is that a number? We're pretty sure that's a number. No, if it is, it's really wow. The fairy in charge casts your confusion, and upon realizing the situation, procures a different card. This one simply has a crude picture of someone kicking multiple mushrooms arranged in a circle. We're gonna start contacting them using them like the fairy circles? Give us a ring sometime, yeah? The main fairy says. Looking back at the artwork, you can't help but feel like it's a hate crime. But upon looking back up, you realize the fairies have vanished without a trace. Only the lingering smell of bad aftershave and latent face stink remains. Unsatisfied by the lack of reward under your pillow, and annoyed by the usual fairy shenanigans, you attempt to go back to sleep. Maybe you'll check out that Two Fairies deal someday. Until then, however, it's the middle of the night and sleep beckons. Fate business card. Crusty knife. Had it since you're a child, it's always performed perfectly. What is this? Never had it. I mean, humanity still kind of sucks. And all this other stuff still kind of sucks. But honestly, I guess we're still alive. Our potency is just powerful. We're just powerful, guys. Just very strong. You feel a crisp breeze. The heat is relenting. The trees are changing in color. Fall has arrived. While on your way to gather firewood, you find that your world is suddenly turned upside down, quite literally. After a second of disorientation, you suss out that you somehow walked yourself right into a trap. Your foot is above you, caught in a thick rope loop. You call for help, hoping someone is nearby. Thankfully, that seems to be the case. When the figure gets close enough for you to see, you feel a sense of familiarity. It's a thief who attempted to rob you in the night. Why, hello there, he greets. You seem a little high-strung today. His joke falls flat on you. Nonetheless, he's quick to help cut you down. I'm sorry for the inconvenience, I wasn't trying to catch you. Tell you what, to make up for it, plus the attempted robbery the other night, why don't I teach you a thing or two? Of course, my areas of knowledge are rather narrow. I have no need for a brand of trickery. I do like learning. Sure, we'll learn. You consider the rogue's offer and realize that you had no reason to decline. Your chore wasn't time sensitive, so you agreed to shadow the man for the rest of your day. The two of you get up to many hijinks, and you discover that though the man does have a penchant for savory, he seemed to try his best to avoid overt cruelty. You also discover many useful tricks along the way, even if most of them are not entirely lawful. You return to your home that night with the promise that you could tag along with him again anytime you so desire. What was that? Steve's apprentice. You hope he's teaching you well. While walking down the heavily wooded path, you notice a disheveled woman is slumped mournfully against the base of a tree. She bears numerous scratches and light wounds, as well as peculiarly coal-black lips. Her clothes are torn and dirty, but despite this, you can tell they were once quite expensive. Curiosity piqued, you approach the woman, asking if she needs help with something. The woman grimaces, shaking her head. Nothing can be done for me. I have been sentenced to death. As she speaks, you notice her tongue is stained, as if she had been licking ink. You can't help but feel intrigued, so you insist. What does she mean? A few weeks ago, I was walking through those woods when I witnessed the most beautiful woman I had ever known, picking flowers alone. I'm ashamed to say that I was so taken by her stunning looks that I followed the woman, aiming to at least ask her name. I discovered far too late, however, I was no woman, but the witch of the woods herself. Your eyes widened. Few humans would even speak of the witch. To follow her into the woods is regarded as, well, a death sentence. I know not if it was a punishment or fulfillment of my unspoken quest, but upon my approach she twisted around and met me with a terrifyingly intense kiss. When I came around again, I bore a terrible curse. We're going to save. She visibly trembles, pulling at the tattered ends of her elegant dress. Solid cobbles seemed to shift under my feet, and steady tools writhe like snakes in my grasp, conspiring to be dropped. I've been doomed to fail at all things. I've lost my work, my coin, and cannot even prepare food or forage without injuring myself. It has reached the point where I can do nothing but sit here and await. She trails off, pursing her blackened lips. Again, the doomed lady falls against a tree, staring blankly. It's apparent that she has utterly lost the will to go on. A cursed kiss from the witch of the woods? How unexpected! Ask her to give the curse to you with a kiss? Decline to interfere in the witch's business. Tell her to pursue a romance with the witch. This is definitely going to go well. Do it! The lady is clearly missing the most important part here. The witch is totally into her. You tell the doomed woman the witch clearly kissed her. Oh, dang it. As a display of romantic interest, that's usually what it means when someone kisses you after all. The doomed woman regards you with a sad look. Huh? Is she pitying you? You're naive in matters of romance, she says with a light chuckle. Is romance somehow more complicated than you expected? Perhaps you still have a lot to learn. I thank you though. You have lifted my spirits somewhat, and I may yet find the path forward. Come look for me again sometime, and I'll be thankful for the company. Somewhat deflated, you head home. What an intriguing woman. Strolling through the village, you find a donation box in front of the church. It offers lovely hats that might dress your oddly shaped head yet. What do you mean? Our head's like normally shaped. It's fine. Our potency just keeps going up. Why? I don't understand. I think we're gonna die soon. We're not healthy. And if no one particularly minds, you may even be able to keep one of them. Take all the hats, why not? You wear them all so well. Leave the hats, you don't need them anyway. We don't need them. You decide to just head home. After all, your head is perfectly capped already. Don't steal from churches, that's weird. Kind of risky. Nope, we did. Despite your life lives thus far, the accomplishments, the humiliations, the laughs and cries, you find yourself wilting away. Perhaps it's illness you think, and for a time you feel better. But no, it's not just a simple illness. For your bounty mycelium, to your mushy soul, there is a dreadful malaise. Malaise? I don't know how to pronounce that. It's indomitable, insurmountable. Before long, it's dragging you down, deep, deep into a mire of self-destruction. After that day, the mushy girl was never seen again. All anyone saw was her making her solemn trek back into that woodland house. And once the door closed, she never emerged, having become but the hollow shell of a once bright young lady. Ending hollow. You have irreparably lost your optimism. Relatable. Congratulations on finishing your first run of Mushroom Musume. One of over 30 endings available in the demo version. Experiment more. Check out the almanac. Mold. One falling dollar. We've got plenty in this demo to keep you busy farming for a while, but I thought I'd also tell you a bit about what awaits players in the full game. We're excited to be working on a new system of minigames for you to play between sessions. Each growing dollar earns 2 spores, which can then be used to purchase mushroomy gardening supplies. What you grow in the garden can help shape future dollars, allowing players a little more control over the outcome, or eventually allowing you to jump right into the third act. Now in the gardening mood, then your hard-earned spores can be gambled away in exchange for rare goodies. How mysterious! Don't you want to know what you'll get? We're also hard at work writing. The full game will have double the word count and double the amount of story content, including an expanded overarching plot. Delve into a dungeon, found a town bustling with muggle life, or maybe even destroy the Witch of the Woods for good if you want. Why? Not to mention never before seen mushroom girls, a cavalcade? I don't know how to pronounce that. Some of the wrong words in this game. Of new music. Even some unique collectibles that are something else entirely. I'm aiming to release the full game in winter of 2024. Wishlist is on Steam to keep up with the newest news. Plus, it helps us out a lot. P.S. Since we're going to be buffing the core gameplay loop, players won't be able to transfer their progress from the demo version. You'll get a little bonus in exchange at least. Just how you like to know. Thanks for playing. Start. Skip. This time we're starting off with soil. Like, she asked for a jar of soil. I accidentally, I didn't read it because I thought it was old. Well, we'll take a look at it. Oh, is it possible? Yeah, here's history. It's important for a young person to be well grounded in this world, I hear. Bring me a jar of soil to help with this process. Keep in mind that not all dirt is the same, though. Consider the source carefully. So all that did sound somewhat magical, the recluse supposed. Left with this vague prompt, they considered your options. It's probably bad. Favorite foresting? I think this one is the best because it's a picturesque section of forest you have ever set your eyes on. Art darts could be great. There's a place they had passed through on occasion, decorated with green leaves and fragrant blossoming flowers. A place of beauty that left one in such awe was the only choice. Only the best for their daughter. Arriving back at their meeting place, Recluse was excited to share their selection with the witch. That's what you picked there. Very well, I shall do. Feeling the need to scrub their skin, the Recluse retired to their hut to cleanse themselves. Can I skip? No. Neutralize her most dangerously volatile regions. Prepare the witch a comforting meal. Organize a surprisingly understated collection of keepsakes. Keepsakes, I mean. There's this icon. We'll just keep making this. Why not see what a witch's most prized personal possessions look like? It's not like they would ever get this chance again, after all. Recluse spent a quiet afternoon carefully unpacking and rearranging her belongings, silently speculating to themselves about the sort of life this witch has led. Arriving back to the meeting point, Recluse was excited to report their progress to the witch. Ah, very good, how kind of you. After quickly wiping themselves down, Recluse returned to the hut for the remainder of the night. Field of flowers, Stony River. I'm gonna go for the river again, because, rock. Garnet, lost maroon heralds of bygone storms. Marble, pale propriety or possibility. Brimstone, strange almost bloody stone. Jasper, nature's deep brown canvas. Possibility, real better. Retrieving a small rounded stone, the recluse realized it to be a chunk of marble. Unblemished, it seemed perfect for their daughter. On the surface, anything could happen. Discovered white. And now I will destroy everyone's eyes by switching to current mushroom color and looking at how white it is. Ow, my eyes. The recluse returned to the witch's hat-colored item in hand. She silently took the object, nodding her head to the recluse in recognition. The recluse stood there for a moment unsure, before finally the witch realized what they expected. Oh ho ho, you want your promised daughter, don't you? Her voice was almost mocking. Skip. Have you now wealth? Have you now life? Life. And then we'll just go for names. We had Inkcap earlier. It would be really mean of me to put, like, I don't know, Portobello or something. How about Bella? No. Oh, if I put Belle, then it just sounds like... I don't want to put Bella because it's like... Oh, I don't want... Twilight. We're just gonna pretend that we're gonna pretend that Damachi doesn't exist. While tapping some trees one day, you overhear a noise. It sounds like the clinking of coins and dice. Before long, you manage to track down the source of a wingless fairy sitting in the eye of a tree. A human! Oh no, I'll now be forced to gamble! The fae cried out unconvincingly. I'm the dice fae, you see. I have no choice but to gamble with every human that passes by. You even get to pick the stakes. The rules are simple. If I roll a 5 or less, I win. If I roll a 6 or higher, well, that means you'll win. Compelling, right? Gambling with fairy? What the hell, why not? What do you want to offer? Coin. Significant bag of substrate. A finger? A daughter. We could just lose our daughter this early on. I don't need more money. I need more substrate. Out of what dice though? Like 8? I assume it's 8, right? So we're probably not gonna make it. So, just coin. Oh, you a chicken? The fairy chides you, but you are immune to these taunts. Dealing with fae is dangerous after all, you are no fool. Without delay, the fairy casts his die. Rattle, rattle, rattle. Oh, it's 10? Is that 10 or something? I don't understand. 9, with some passing about amusement, you realize that somehow, against all odds, you have won. Wow, don't spit it all in one place now. The fairy shouts in mock amazement, throwing a small fistful of coins to you. That was really disappointing. You spend only a moment scooping them from the ground before you depart. A flock of hungry birds have been harassing both your crops and your daughter recently. In fact, it becomes quite a nuisance. Know the birds, fetch your bow and hunt the birds. Poison and purchase. Purchase some poison, no. You retrieve your bow and are lucky to leave with not one, but 2 birds from the flock. They shouldn't show up again for a while. You and your daughter may rest. Nothing more could be done to the birds. The matter was laid to rest. I need to use my money. Give something to use my money. Aww, your daughter has changed in the night. One morning, you awaken with a weight on your chest and open your eyes to find a heavy mushroom sitting atop you. The creature has grown little arms and legs and demonstrates her newfound mobility by clambering off the bed as you wake. Her demeanor seems cheerful, wandering about in an excitable and inquisitive mood. Optimism! Your daughter's development is going better than expected and you want to promote her cheerful nature. Encourage her to appreciate beautiful things, bringing her to that flower-filled glade you once visited. Enthralled by the wondrous sights, appreciating nature quickly becomes her favorite pastime and she spends much of her time wandering outside. The decision being made, life continued. Now we are tired. Stay in bed. Yes. Underdeveloped and feral. Still. I don't need more money. Here. Look at the daughter. Look at the child. Gain trait child. One morning, you notice that your daughter is nowhere to be seen. After an hour of searching the nearby area, you find her walking in a nearby meadow. To your surprise, the creature had now taken the form of a young girl. You feel relieved to confirm that the witch hadn't betrayed you. At your approach, she turns and grins at you excitedly before continuing to appreciate her surroundings. Sit and watch her play. Buy her a nice gift to celebrate? Yeah, gift. Here, have it. It feels like a momentous achievement, so you tell your daughter you're going to the village to buy her a present. She jumps up and down excitedly, and the 2 of you head back to prepare for a trip into town. Your daughter thoroughly enjoys the outing and lovingly clutches the stuffed toy she picked out at the market. The decision being made, life continued. You awaken, only to discover that your daughter is covered in tiny, parasitic creatures. What? For the sake of her health, you should probably find a way to get rid of the little pests. Give the child a thorough rinse. Buy her some fine herbal pesticides. She's all organic, leave to be. Embrace her. Embrace the change. What? I'm gonna use the money. Dreading the potential spread of disease, you decide to seek some strong elixirs from the local apothecary. My daughter! When you apply the potion, it seems to be instantly absorbed into her skin. It lends her a healthy shimmer and exterminates the bugs. The decision being made, life continued. You realize you finished all your work for the week and have a whole day free. Take your daughter on a scenic hike. An end? One night, you find yourself struggling to sleep. Your mind wanders as you consider your current place in life. You've lived peacefully for your daughter for many moons. Initially, it was strange. Well, it never stopped being strange, but you were always thankful for the company. Besides, the affection you felt for her was like any parent would feel toward their child. That was normal, at least. Your thoughts turned to the concept of time, particularly how you were once alone, and how you are afraid that you will be again someday. Your daughter has had more and more curiosities about the outside world. It's only a matter of time before she wants to strike her own path. You hope you will be fulfilled now. You hope you've done enough. Ultimately, you find comfort in what you've done. You may have had many failures in your life, but there's one thing you know you can die proud of. What? And a new beginning. Telling your recluse that you want to see more of the world wasn't an easy conversation. As they grew older, you worried about leaving them on their own. Thankfully, your concerns were unwarranted. You're happy that you're grown enough. Skip. No. Show all the tricks. Finally, they will arrive. You're officially on your own. You're scared just a little, but also excited. You felt like a new chapter is just beginning for you. Loving parent. Great little brown mushroom. Stunted mushroom, too small and nondescript to have much use. Oh my god. You never got big enough to fully identify. You're a little different every day and that's okay with you. You're unfortunately just not very good at anything. You didn't receive proper care and grew into a stunted adult. People can tell just by looking. You find it difficult to contain yourself. Oh, this is so sad. Many nopes. On one particularly desolate evening, you decide to take a walk around the outskirts of town. You find yourself overcome with an unaccountably uneasy feeling as you pass by an abandoned neighborhood, the dying amber light casting menacing shadows. As you enter a dilapidated gatehouse, protruding bits of ruin and decaying wood conspire in your periphery, forming unnerving figures. Something skulks among them. Finally, you spot the thing. Your body tenses with alarm as you distinguish a smooth and gray-brown object in a half-formed approximation of a human shape. A statue of a woman propelled by unknown means shambles forward and locks its gaze on you. Oh my god, they're weeping angels. A set of glowing purple features overlays the stony mass of its face, hovering lines forming in the mouth and eyes. You don't know why, but looking at the creature fills you with dismay and revulsion. The glowing image of a mouse cycles through different shapes as an unpleasant whirring emanates from her head as she emits a strange buzzing voice. You nod stiffly, bewildered. This one is a preferred subject. I commend some necessary experiment to determine its form. It's picture consumption. What? Gonna eat me? This thing means you great harm. You feel it to your core. Turn tail and run for the woods. Attack the creature. Tell her you are not the daughter of the witch. Redford. Without pausing for thought, you turn on your heels and dash away from the ruins. Her heavy footfalls accompany your own as she follows. She's much faster than you expect, but you manage a desperate sprint toward the nearby tree line where you hope to lose her. Weaving into the... You know, I'm gonna be honest. This right here, that comment I made about what to name her. Yeah, I guess it's irony. I wanted to forget, and turns out irony got me. Moving into the woods, you slow your pace as she doesn't follow. Stopped at the forest edge, she merely stands and watches as you flee. Something grinds and hisses in her head as her ethereal face twists into a mass of hateful dissatisfaction. Eventually, you make your way home, feeling far less secure after the frightful encounter. A man wearing vibrant, multicolored robes and a large pack approaches your home. He's heard rumors of a beautiful fungal woman and has come to paint you. He asks you if you will give him the honor of being the first to put your beauty on the canvas. Confused, you're not so vain as to want art made of you. Accept the artist's request and allow him to paint you. Convince the artist to teach you instead. Just a sec. After a few hours of modeling for the man, he finishes his work and turns to canvas to show you. Though he praised you as beautiful before, he seems to have felt it necessary to embellish some of your features. The painter has depicted you much taller, stronger, and more active than you are in reality. You're shown dancing with several humans at some sort of festival. You later receive a letter telling you that the painting was sold to the painter's sister. Painter? Sort of reputable. You're awoken, it's safe again. Wait, it's not like we have the physical ability to do anything. Just hog. Run. Hell yeah. We're good at running. You posed for an artist, but the artist thoroughly ignored you. Damn. You do the first thing that comes to mind, turn tail and run. You can hear the pig giving chase at first, but you quickly outrun it. Your walk may have been cut short, but at least you got some decent exercise at the end there. The mountains bordering the northern reaches of the forest call out to you. You see them every day on your adventures, and there is an overwhelming desire to climb them that simply can't be ignored. Readying yourself in the early hours of the morning, you glance over the materials you have on hand. Don't pack. In fact, just don't go. We're weak. Pack light. Carefully choose each item based on its weight, size, and usefulness. Wow, we're just really rolling here. Your pack sits comfortably on your shoulders and allows for a full range of movement. With your pack all set, you make your way out to the mountain. After a couple hours of climbing, you feel like you've made some decent progress, though you're starting to get a bit tired. Just as you think it's time for a break, you come across a beautiful mountain spring, complete with its own waterfall. Take a relaxing shower, train your endurance. We need endurance, yes. You've often heard that waterfalls are powerful. You could use some of that for yourself. After a quick look around to ensure you're alone, you make your way to the waterfall. You know one thing for sure, it's wet. It's also powerful, you suppose. The raging waters around you are rough on your body and mind, but in a way that makes you feel more alive. Exhausted and fulfilled, you decide to return home before you pass out. There's a knock on your door. When you go to answer it, you see a man dressed in an elegant black suit. "Are you the fungal woman of the woods?" he asks, as though seeing you in the mushy flesh was not enough. "My employer wishes to invite you to a small dinner gathering. She's heard much about you, and thinks her guests would relish the chance to actually be acquainted with you." You stand there slightly in shock as the man proceeds to outline the details of the event. When you should arrive, what sort of clothing you should wear, "Oh, do you wear clothing? I'll have to double check the dress code," etc. Finally, after handing you a small scrap of paper with elegant writing on it and bidding you adieu, the man left your doorstep. You think about the event that's been described to you and ultimately come to a decision. Don't go, because I think they're gonna eat me. Nope. You aren't so sure about this. Human social gatherings are strange, complex things. You aren't sure you feel comfortable trying to navigate that. There's no reason for you to attend. It'll likely save you some troubles in the end anyway. One evening, you witness a strange occurrence as you approach your home. A pair of humans are huddled in a nearby bush watching your house intently. They're thieves. Or they're children. Eyes locked on the strange doe, you don't notice their approach. It appears they are here to spy on you? You in turn find a wood spot nearby to sit and observe the pair. They don't appear to be armed, but carry large oblong packs and travel gear. How strange. Oh, they're probably like campers who are like, "Is this house occupied?" After several minutes of observation, you consider what to do about the humans. Walk up and greet them, wait for them to leave. "Yo, what's up?" Finally deciding they don't pose a threat. Oops. You casually walk up to the pair. Up close, you get the impression these are academics, field researchers. You don't even notice your approach, and after a long moment of standing outwardly, you clear his throat. Well, what the? One yelps suddenly, and the other researchers steadies themselves, having nearly fallen over. The creature, it's really here! The two suddenly break into a frantic discussion with each other, and they struggle to even get a word in. "We should leave," one insists, "before the witch finds us." The researchers pack their things, and you feel somewhat forgotten now that they are suddenly very interested in leaving. "You should head out too," a researcher calls out to you, practically an afterthought. "The witch will begin her hunt soon." What a strange encounter, you find yourself thinking later that night. What did they come here for? Why do humans live in such a mortal fear of the witch? With your mind buzzing with questions, you retire for the night. A chilling breeze greets you one morning, heralding the approach of winter. The end of the year approaches and you find yourself considering your aspirations. You want to accomplish something significant, you decide, something you'll remember. Take on a dangerous quest. Attend a charming evening at the gala. Decide not to pursue anything. Well, can't do the dangerous quest. I don't think we're a loser after all. Let's attend a charming evening. Recently, you've garnered enough attention in the area to be invited to a high-class event, really. Sort of reputable, you have been a good person. This could be an opportunity to celebrate the year or invite someone you wish to grow closer with. Attend the gala alone, invite the person who raised you. Let's attend the gala alone, maybe we'll meet someone. The gala seems intimidating enough as it is, you don't feel the need to overcomplicate things. You decide you will attend alone. It might be lonely, but you hope you'll have a pleasant evening. The event isn't until the end of the year, at least you have plenty of time to prepare yourself. You're wandering the suburbs of a village one day when you notice an unusual sight. Before you is a collection of 5 or 6 young humans crowded together in a circle. When you walk closer, you can more clearly hear the words they seem to be shouting at each other. Damn it, one of them cries out. I should have went scroll! You should always go scroll against you! Doing rock, paper, scissors, but instead like scroll, sword, and now a boulder. I guess. Scrolls. Are these people scholars? When you take a closer look, you can see the group reset. 2 neo-humans go to the center of the circle, holding one fist out each. The rest of the group takes an anticipatory position, looking on intense excitement. This is it. If you win this, you win the whole pot. One of the onlookers was speaking closely to one competitor. How intriguing. A pot? A prize pot? You only have a boring old regular pot. A prize pot would be quite the upgrade. In fact, you can see it from here, an ornate box near the edge of the group. You want the pot, how do you try to get it? Join the competition last minute? This can't be legal. Report them to the authorities. I don't need a new pot. I don't want or need a new pot. I will never want or need a new pot. Nope. More kitchenware. Your dwelling isn't infinitely large. You simply don't have the space to getting any more pots than you currently own. You leave the group a large berth as you depart to head home. Having taken a leisurely stroll one day, you sit upon a humble shack nestled among dense brush across a nearby river. And from the hovel bounds a symphony of music reverberating off of the trees. With curiosity grabbing hold, you saunter off the beaten path, making your way to the water's edge. To your surprise, a ramshackle bridge extends across the water, and before you know it, you're face to face with the shack's running door. Knock on the door. Reconsider leave. Hello. You rap your knuckles on the door. After a moment, a slight shuffling can be heard from inside. At length, the door opens, and you're greeted to the bewildered expression of a rather strange-looking crone. The figure is tall and looming, hunched over with a head towering over your short stature. A hood that reveals your eyes, and where it would expose the skin, it only travels matted whiskers long since grayed. You notice their skin as the crone raises a hand in greeting, gnarled and dark like the knot of a tree. As they speak, hoarsely churning out a polite hello, you catch the subtlest torrent of voices intermingled from within, like an amalgam of souls. It's been a long while since a visitor graced my doorstep. Would you like to come in? Surely I've been drawn by the music, no? You can't say no, you really are captivated by the music. Without delay, you take the crone up on their offer and enter the home. You seem nice enough, and you get the feeling that all the apprehension built up before has melted away. Plus, the interior smells like fresh jasmine. What better way to distress? The crone shows you the source of the music, a strange box at the far end of the room. As they're showing off the piece, the music stops and the crone hits a small switch, shutting down the mechanisms. This here is a phonograph, used for playing music off these cylinders. The crone fiddles with the machine, taking off a black wax cylinder. This one is part of a suite, the finale. The crone hangs her head low. Unfortunately, the rest of the suite is lost to me. The crone pauses for a moment. and looks you up and down and says, but you have a draw to the music, eh? It's hard to tell, but you believe a smile to have cracked somewhere beyond the massive whiskers. If that's the case, you seem able enough. I tell you what, if you're able to collect the other 6 parts of a suite, I'll give you the finale as a gift. One cannot enjoy a suite without the full collection. You shrug. The offer seems straightforward enough. Without reluctance, you accept, much to the crone's satisfaction. Then, I'd ask to read you a story. One that might help glean the location of another cylinder. Would you be interested? It is, however, quite a long story, should you wish to do other things. Sure, do it. Ah, yes. The crone stoops in place across from you, resting on what you assume to be their haunches. As they open the book, you feel enraptured, engrossed, enthralled. Before you know it, the words blend into a dappling of synesthesia that seemingly spirits you away to the land of story. As with many, this tale began with tragedy. An errant child, the kid was exiled from town, branded with heresy and derision. She bore no sin but that of her birth, specifically the eyes, smoldering pools of ceaseless violet. Man, I wonder where we heard that before. They were the same eyes as the violet witch, a malefactor who had been terrorizing the area for years. And as such, the kid was cast from her meager home at a young age, branded as a cursed child. She would not know peace for some time, not until her body became frail, her throat burning, her stomach gnawing. It was a reclusive figure who at life offered her shelter, one who lived deep in the western woods. It was the first time the kid could know peace. But peace was ill-becoming of the time and ever fleeting. Despite the love and care bestowed upon her by her guardian, she could not stay. Fire came in the night. At first it was deemed as an accident, happenstance. But attacks became bold and frequent, turning from 1 or 2 into small mobs, each time led by a sightless man, as if to taunt. As long as the violet witch roamed the land, the kid would know no sanctuary. She could only bring pain to those who would offer her comfort. And so, after a heated argument with her guardian, she forced herself to leave, lest he be caught up in the madness. The kid set off without preparation, carrying with her only a smolder of conviction. Nevertheless, she was savvy, complete with a few well-honed skills needed for survival. It wasn't long before she was well away from home, out beyond the threshold where the familiar woods fell away to shadowy hinterlands, rather. Though according to the rumors of the Violet Witch, her mains would be less than a day's travel southwest. And as it were, there were 3 ways to go about heading there. The Gladry's highway, which the kid had been taking, dilapidated as it was, the old grove forest, as unwelcome as it seemed, or the gentle river bank. Continue on the highway, cut through the old grove, follow the river. Damn. Looking to avoid any trouble, the kid decided that the easiest route was to follow the river. It allowed for more light than the alternatives, with her being able to see quite well in the gloam. So well, in fact, that she spotted a glint of moonlight on the bank of the river, reflecting off a piece of what appeared to be jewelry. Upon further inspection, it seemed to be a talisman fashioned in the shape of a circle of fairies. Holding it made the kid feel something deep within their soul, but the catharsis swiftly fled. Before long, the talisman seemed like nothing more than a hunk of junk. A hunk of metal. Regardless, this kid stashed it safely on their person. After a while, the manse crested over a neighboring hill. She was just beside the property as it was. Though she thought for a moment there was still enough twilight to search around nearby. Of course, it may not be worth it. Search the old grove. Doubling back for a bit, the kid decided to check out the old grove. The dark, harrowing woods didn't go for long before a glint caught her eye. There, buried in the trunk of a moss-covered tree, a knife stuck out, and from where its blade cut into the bark, opalescent buds sprung forward. The kid, needing supplies, wrenched the blade from its resting place and hooked it firmly about her waist. Pleased with her find, the kid returned to the mains and found its front door to be unlocked. Feeling her stomach sink, the kid steeled her nerves and pushed onward. The Violet Witch's mains was regal, though disheveled. It didn't appear as though anyone had been home for some time, even if there was a distinct lack of dust on the surfaces. Very little furniture decorated the vaulted foyer. Exits on either side led to the library and the dining hall, while a spiraling staircase led into darkness overhead. Examine or travel? Examine. Welcome sign, potted plant, ground for the clock, chandelier, suspicious corner. A portrait of the lady of the house hung menacingly in the corner of the room. Taller and wider than a full-grown adult, her eyes piercing the kid's soul. Do nothing. Examine. This has been marked as done. Chandelier. An intricate crystal chandelier hung down from overhead. Its tether disappeared in the darkness of the vaulted ceiling, but its light shone down in a flood. Channel the talisman to cut the tether? Why? Why'd you so, angry? I don't understand. An ancient clockwork soldier, tirelessly carrying on his duty without complaint. Something sinister emanated from it, and the kid felt a tinge of fear as the hands neared midnight. Continue to explore. A pitiful wilted thing. The kid's first thought upon seeing such a sad remark? Really? I don't think this is a remark. Was to believe it to be desiccated. Perhaps she was right. A flat board made of cork sat on the wall with little ceramic letters backed by pins pushed into the facade. It read, "Live, laugh, spellcraft." Rearrange the letters. Yes. With a little creative tinkering, the kid changed the sign to read, "All lifesteal." Examine it again. We're mischievous, hehe. Arrange it again. She pull an evil fart. Spectre hag fail. Having had her fun, the kid put the letters back to the original phrasing. Library. A vibrant carpet and luscious scarlet drapes help pull together a warm, rich environment within the hardwood library. The room stretched up far above, concealing into darkness just beyond a mezzanine. Examine. Table and chair, comfortable table and chair dual tucked in the corner of the library, mostly cast in shadow. It's hard for the kid to discern anything of note. Along the majority of the library's wall ran a magnificent bookcase, as it were. Several books stood out notably to the kid. Read the first book, read the second book, and read the third book. Turn the books to the shelf. First, let's say that the first book the kid had set aside was a political satire on the salacious rumors of some ancient kingdom's arrogant new king and his new, less than visible attire. A second book the kid set aside chronicled an ancient grieving ritual where an icy queen untethered herself in a moment of desperation and fell into an endless slumber. Allegedly, the queen's frigid embrace can be felt on the wind atop the tallest mountain. I'm scared. The third book the kid set aside ended up being a cookbook of all things. The legends note one recipe in particular that caught her eye: mashed mushroom mustard, supposedly quite savory. Heavy curtains, blood-red curtains hung from on high, obscuring a gigantic window. The kid, taking the knife, slashed out a piece of fabric, fashioning it into a cape. Legends say she looked quite stylish. Far above, though before the shadows restricted her vision, the kid could spy a mezzanine. The library had a very clear second floor that was inaccessible from the first. Oops. There's stuff for ya. The kids found themselves in a, might I say, dramatically lit hallway. We're talking candelabras, stained glass, the works. The hallway only led two ways, downstairs back to the foyer and into the man's bedroom at the opposite end. 7. Surreal portrait. His kids studied the portrait in the hallway of a familiar-looking woman caught frozen in an expression of surprise, as though she had not expected acknowledgement. Never mind. Bedroom. The door appeared to be locked. Well, damn. That's useless. Dining hall. The every chime of the grandfather clock declared the time is 10 o'clock. The dining hall was modest and cozy, though elaborate enough to default it as a place of sophisticated living. Tall windows lined the walls, looking out into an inky night, offering views for every seat along the extended table traveling the length of the room. On the wall, a portrait of a woman sat crooked, and around the corner a hearth set blazing beneath the bust of a stuffed boar. In the shadowy corner, a door led surreptitiously into the kitchen. Too many long words, I'm failing. The woman portrait, and the portrait of a revealed woman cradling a silent, staring baby hung crooked on the wall. The kid felt unnerved. The baby had her eyes. A roaring fire heated the room efficiently, though beyond the flames there appeared to be a key. Or bust. The taxidermied bust of a massive black bristled boar hung on the wall of the dining room. Its tusks looked ferocious enough to pierce steel plates, if not something stronger. Kitchen table. Now, according to outside accounts of the kid's story, they say the table was made of real mahogany. Real mahogany. Do you have any idea how hard it is to source that stuff around here? I mean, what do we have? Fur? Well, regardless, it was quite fancy, especially for a witch who appeared lacking in a dinner guest apartment. Kitchen. The kid entered the kitchen and found little of interest, random cutlery, and the lingering smell of stale grease littered the room. An oven attached to some counters along with the rear side of the hearth crowded around the far side of the room near a door leading into the pantry. Examine? Oven. A standard brick oven, slightly ostentatious and certainly oversized. It didn't seem like anything had been cooked in there for some time. Examine. Oops. Stone countertops. A slate countertop littered with cutlery. The kid couldn't glean anything of note. Rear side of the hearth. The kid looked into the hearth and realized there was a key dropped in there resting behind the flames. All they had to do was pluck the key out and they had access to the pantry. Pantry. The pantry was dark, cool, and musty. Larger than expected for the size of man, it nestled unsettling thoughts into the kid's mind. Examine, rotten foodstuffs. The disgusting pile of rotting food that would make the kid feel sick. There's no telling how long it had been sitting there. Strange note. A small bloody piece of paper that manually detailed a particular book within the library, but for whatever reason it did not explain why. Regardless, it piqued the kid's interest. They would have to check the shelves for the tome. A particularly savvy-looking rat. A large, rotund rat sat in the center of the pantry watching the kid. Hey, you look like a thrifty sort. I was about to change, eh? You stretch my back, I stretch yours, capiche? If I was of cheese, yeah. This food no good for nobody I know how. Give me a little of this good stuff and I'm liable to talk. The kid blinked at the rat before continuing on the rummaging. After all, who has time to speak with Shifty, not to mention magical vermin? There's no cheese in here. Muse at the dance, the flame tongues? The kids stood there and wondered, watching the creative and destructive might of the flames. They laughed indiscriminately. There's no friend or foe to the fire, only that which might burn. And each flame, each piece, an independent soul belonging to the united whole, would labor their lives away. For what? Tossing against whatever might be in the way, do they hope to catch and engulf to live another life? To consume and live regardless of the cost? Or do they wish to hold nothing at all, that they may at last wither and fade? Perhaps they did not wish at all. It was not a fire's duty to wish, only to burn. At length, the kid pulled away from introspection. Robust. Kitchen table. No cheese. Never mind. Get it for. What do we have? I don't remember. Look at the library. Examine. Bookshelf. Along the majority of the library's wall ran a magnificent bookshelf, as it were. Several books stood out notably to the kid. Read the secret book. The kid opened the book, expecting to find some boring scrap of information, but was instead greeted with a hollowed out center. And within that center, a key. The kid, finally finding the bedroom, had taken the strangely intimate feeling of her surroundings. The room was quite enviable. One way led to a personal lavatory, the other way toward the library's mezzanine, with the only other way back into the hallway. The kid couldn't help take a gander around. Saving game. Salmon, the wardrobe. A large hardwood wardrobe sat with handles just waiting for the kid's fingers to grasp, and within she found a marvelous cane tipped in iron with the effigy of a hawk. While blunt, it still posed a significant method of damage when swung. Salmon, polished vanity, beautiful simplistic vanity sat in the corner of the room. Inside the diary belonging to the lady of the house sat opened, reading, "I fear to have fallen unto thraldom. I mustn't forget the code to the altar. Mine own faith feels faint of late. I pray this omen never to afflict my sweet child. Remember it, remember the code, ye tired wretch. Epicloe, for the sake of your daughter. For the sake of thy daughter." Regal 4-poster bed. A majestic 4-poster bed took a prominent space within the bedroom. When the kids searched it, however, they found a magnificent longsword hidden beneath the covers. Agent certainly gripped the blade, but could still swing at least once. The icon on the hilt resembled an eye held tightly shut. We should slay that rat. Conspicuously well-preserved wedge of cheese? I mean, I kind of expected it to be random cheese, but I'm like, why? Admittedly, the kid was forced to do a double take, but they were on a nightstand kept in perfect condition under a heavy glass lid with a spectacular wedge of cheese. Whereas she saw the man's has belonged to a taromancer? What's that mean? A bored hobbyist. Regardless, the kid took the cheese because quite frankly she couldn't think of a reason not to. I mean, could you? No, I guess I couldn't. Exactly, I don't think there's a person alive who would resist free, perfectly aged cheese like that. Anyway, the kid took it in their grubby little hands and fingers and kept it safely on the person. Barber stand. Mannequin at the corner of the room sported a peculiar attire, armor, though ceremonial as if meant to slip over regular clothing. A fold made of mirrored plates matched an oversized necklace of similar styling, while a set of gauntlets completed the fashion. So many things. As the kid donned the armor, you could feel a warding effect create a paling around them. On some level, despite the ornamental nature of it, they felt far more protected than before. The library first. The library's mezzanine felt decadent to the kid. Immaculate carvings made of the banister and intricate candelabras infused a sanguine light between the stunted shelves. So many words! A magnificent window at the far end of the room was covered by a blood-red curtain trailing far below to the ground floor. A fall from there would cause grave injury to the kid. 7th bookshelf. The kid perused the shelves, finding a number of tomes that struck her fancy. Book 1. The first book the kid set aside lamented the journey of a lone knight's spirit. One who, even after death, continued to stand guard beside a frozen queen who is the only one to have claimed his heart. Book 2. The second book the kid set aside poured over fantastic detail about how best to host a dinner party when one's guests are beings from upper and outer planes of existence. As it turns out, the key was an excessive stockpile of horseradish and a can-do attitude. Book 3. The third book the kid set aside laid out the steps to reforging the might and power of a long sword that a lorn sword that is so like forlorn. A blade in which the power had been lost when the one who remembered it passed on. The restorative ritual relied on several key items: an effigy of the faithful ones belonging to the weapon, a knife with the power of rebirth to draw and drip the new faithful's blood upon the effigy, and the weapon in question itself. There was a catch, however: the ritual could only be done atop an altar of the weapon's faith. To exhume a faith as such, without first taking the steps needed to show one's respect, was tantamount to blasphemy. Good feeling we don't have enough for that. Laboratory, have a chime to me after the clock. Yes. Inside the laboratory is fascinating and cleared. Lazuli walls coated every inch, and ornate tiling in blues and whites accented the rest. 7. Unassuming toilet. Was a monster magical toilet. Any and all have seen one of those in their lifetimes. Why do your business in a hole in the backyard when magic can do all the transporting for you? Flush the toilet? The kid flushed the toilet magically, the water was whisked away, and in a similar fashion, it was refilled in the bowl. It was truly a marvel of magical science. Sub cabinet. A basic wooden cabinet sat at the end of the laboratory, opposite the toilet. Inside it held only one item: a single roll of extra toilet paper. Naturally, the kid took it. Creating mischief in the realm of one's most vulnerable activities brought a delight to her that was rarely matched. Plus, toilet paper is a remarkably flammable substance, and the kid understood that well. Never mind. Wait, actually. There's nothing in there? Nothing more. Wait, we could... Oops. In a sudden desire to commit heinous crimes of property damage, the kid stuffed the toilet paper down the bowl and triggered the magical flushing sequence. The strongest magic in the world couldn't withstand the power of a clogged toilet, however, and before long the water started to overflow. No! An overflowing disaster. Look at that mess. Why'd the kid do such a thing? Something tells me that place never heard of property insurance either. I feel like we needed that for something. Oops, I didn't mean to go that. I'm just wasting time. I want to go to that rat. Here, rat, have your cheese. Hey, is that some cheddar? How's about you handle the scratch? Alright. Now, here's a piece of advice for yous. Get down for the clock strikes 12, capiche? That's bad times in the biz. Don't get too enamored by that clock in the foyer, for you know hours are passing by. Wait, that was incredibly useless. Before the kid could say anything, the rat scurried off. What a pal. If I stare at the fire again. To the kitchen, maybe? No. Wait, I'm going to the fire. Cut up the painting. The kid thrust her knife at the subjectively derivative piece of art and wrenched the canvas away from the wall. I think you mean like wrench or something, right? To his surprise, a fortified door with a magical seal preventing passage lay just beyond. Upon further inspection, the seal seemed to unlock with a spoken password. The kid leaned forward, plainly speaking epically, before standing back to watch the wall recede and the room behind become exposed. Goes through the secret passage? Kind of out of time though. While the memory cried anguish from the foyer. Behind the hidden passageway, the kid wandered through a brief, dark passageway before emerging at an intimate stone chapel ending in an occult altar. A statue depicting the lady of the house stood in the corner on a dais, and pews lined the length of the nave. Michael pews. A set of 6 hardwood pews that lined the way to the altar. Each looked immaculate and unblemished. Save for one near the front, a singular seat had long been worn away. Each statue, the kid marveled at a 10-foot high statue upon a raised dais, depicting a lady of the house. The legends say that the statue wore a ceremonial set of armor and branded a longsword in her left hand and a magnificent Christ in the other. Tubing altar, realizing the information gleaned from the book, ready to items for the altar. St. in the discarded fae. Atop the stone baby, the kid gripped their knife and cut deep into his thumb, watching as buds took a hold upon the talisman in a small circle. Finally, the kid took the sword and plunged hard into the sacrament. The babe underneath shattered, though the blade tip never pierced through the talisman. As the kid pulled the sword back out, however, she could feel the strength pulsate from the babe and noticed the hand that held open. It felt like staring in a reflection. It's depleted. Turn to foyer. In the foyer, the kid felt a horrid chill on the air. Suddenly, she came face to face with a shade of the mantis matron. Though a formidable opponent, it was nothing more than the poor witch's memories made manifest. We have a sword. The storied sword from a fractured bloodline held stares at one harder than anyone could ever stare back. It's as if it uses one's own eyes to gauge the soul. Like, surely we're gonna live, right? We have a sword. There's no time to think. The shade sounded like the kid as an intruder and intended to make the consequences known. But the kid had no intention of going down without a fight. Water leaked all throughout the room, raining down and hurting the shade. The kid thought briefly about what to use against the shade, pulling out Swanky cane, a budding knife, or the Galdry's grudge blade. I mean, I keep saying grunge. I'm not sure why. The kid swung the legendary blade at the shade. The agony sent out by the beast was a symphony. It certainly felt that attack. The shade initiated its share of the combat by reaching high and striking down with an incredible claw attack. The passion of the fight had been ignited. The dance was afoot. Water leaked all throughout the room, raining down and hurting the shade. The kid thought briefly about what to use against the shade, pulling out. Yes, again. The shade hissed, whipping a miserable claw at the kid, connecting somewhat. There was no other path left to the kid, only fate could scry the outcome. Now I just feel like I'm cheating. The kid swung the legendary blade at the shade. The shade shrieked and moaned as the magic comprising it flitted away. It flittered away. All that was left in that mess of water was the kid and a bound of unanswered questions. The only thing left as a clue for her was a small precious stone fragment left behind the shade. And as the kid scooped it in her palm, the fragment warmed and glittered a bright gleam before fading at length into slumber. Regardless, the kid understood it was only the beginning of her journey. And such was the kid forced to come to terms with many a disquieting thought upon that return trip home. Yep, we spent how many minutes on that side quest? I have no idea. Dozens of woes and villainy of sorrows, but only one truth that struck her. Perhaps those rallied against her, in fact, did so with cause. The kid would return victorious indeed, but some believe her to have gone on further to do many a great deed. Alas, that's all for now. Time slipped away from us. It seems we best hurry on home now before the dark settles. The crone leans in uncomfortably close. I wouldn't want to run into the violet witch now, would you? She asks with a cackle. Taking her advice, he returned home, head filled with thoughts of the kid. You wake one night to the light of a full moon and the eerie sound of singing. As if your body isn't your own, the cold night air is drawn over your flesh upon leaving the house. And just aside, you see a group of tiny fairies are dancing and singing inside a ring of sprouted mushrooms. One of them spots you watching and motions you closer. Don't go in. Tired to capture some of them? Go back to bed. Go forth and play with the fairies. Humanity's gonna go down. I mean, I still don't know what our stats are, but I'm sure humanity's like high, right? Go ahead. Your song and dance pull you in. Oh, come on. And soon you're fully entranced. As time moves forward, so do you. The fairies guide you deep into the woods. You wonder if you're going somewhere secret. When the fairies makes an odd noise, and they all scatter, leaving behind faint trails of light and echoes of tiny laughter. The Fae have left you in the middle of the woods, and you spend the rest of the night finding your way home. There's a trap. Do you like loading? Skills. While aimlessly wandering one day, you decide that the best use of your time would be to do some scouting. It's always useful to expand your mental map of the area. The country near your home is lush, with many diverse landscapes to be found. You decide to head to the north toward a particularly damp, dense forest that's home to a variety of useful plants. As a child, this is where you knew to get medicine plants from, but there was danger there as well. You step into the forest, feeling a humid breeze on your fungal cheek. There's an omnipresent buzz of insects pervading the air. This section of the forest feels much different than where you live, and you find that it's hard to feel at peace. Despite this, the flora and fauna is resplendent. You find yourself looking from plant to plant. Finally, you see something quite interesting. There's a flower. Are you sure? This looks like... seems concerning. I don't know, man. A beautiful, large pink flower stands tall in a nearby clearing. The petals are twisted, forming a large, sparkling bud that is larger than your head. The single flower is the distinction of the plant, but you observe that its stalk is robust and strangely segmented. It feels like a bit like a monolith. For a moment, you simply stand and stare at it. Something about the strange plant leaves you with a feeling of awe. You suspect that you may be able to sell this flower in the market for quite a pretty penny, or perhaps keep its splendor for yourself. Leave it to pick the flower. We're gonna die! I'm out of here. As you contemplate the flower, you realize that you have never before seen one quite like it. It felt wrong to kill something like that, even if it was only a plant. Some people would claim that you are only a plant, after all. But tentacles must stick together. You continue exploring for a while when you tire, you walk home with the comfort of knowing that you are, if nothing else, polite with fellow plants. One day, while gathering some resources from the forest, you realize that the sun is gone and set on you. You hadn't been anticipating a night trip, so this is a little unfortunate. Thankfully, you can spot a fire on the world ahead. It appears to you that a single man is sitting next to it with a worn tent set up nearby. The man bears a distinctive set of tattoos surrounding his face and arms with a set of decorative, presumably, eyes. You contemplate the thought of approaching this man and keeping yourself warm beside his fire. Does this appeal to you? Join the man and you can make your own way. Join him, why not? It's dark and you have nothing on you to create a camp. You figure that it's acceptable to ask if nothing else. As you approach the man, he seems immediately aware of your presence. Welcome, daughter of the witch. He speaks calmly, identifying you more precisely than most. You idly think that it's unfair to be called a daughter of the witch. The witch did not raise you, after all. Nevertheless, you ask the man if you could join him. It's a dark night, and you have left yourself stranded. Thankfully, he seems sympathetic to your plight. What is mine is yours, fellow Fae touched. He pauses. Though you may find I do not have much to offer. He eyes me your campsite. Fire and company will have to get you through the night, it seems. Though you do spy a variety of small, strange trinkets. Some part of you suspects they are fortune-telling in nature. What do you do with the remnants of the evening? Talk to him. Help him learn his place? That's mean. Ask the man to tell you your future, sure. One simply cannot carry around fortune-telling instruments and speak in obscurities without expecting to be quizzed. You ask the man plainly to tell you of your fortune and what may lay ahead. There was a moment where you were worried this request may offend the man in some way, or at the very least bore him. But if that's the case, he doesn't betray these feelings in his countenance. He simply takes a set of bone, white objects sitting next to the fire and holds them in his fist for a moment before casting them into the fire. They crackle and hiss for a few seconds, sending small wisps of grey smoke. Finally, he speaks. You suddenly put yourself into a position where you cannot fail. He speaks with a hesitation, like there is something he cannot figure out how to convey, but you cannot succeed either. His words were like he was diagnosing something boring, an issue of construction or a meal. A bland future is unsuitable for someone like you. What a magic in nature, and yet nothing to strive for. Dang! He's calling us a loser. You could feel his disappointment for some reason. It struck you as rude for a stranger to make such remarks, but you kept your comments to yourself. After gifting you this prediction, the man moved the conversation along. The two of you spent the rest of the night quietly chatting. By the time boarding arrives, you feel rested and ready to make the trek back home, and after a quick thank you to the man, you make your leave. Winter Gala draws ever nearer. Perplexing event, and when you decide you want to investigate in more detail. On the day of the event, you wake up with a body full of excitement. You do your best to make yourself presentable for the townsfolk. Did you know that humans often don't like dirt? Were they raised in a laboratory or something? When you arrive at the ball, you find the room filled with all kinds of people. Mostly humans, but you are under the impression some of those in attendance might be like you, touched by magic in some way. As you grow acclimatized to the situation, you realize that you're not particularly sure what one is supposed to do at a ball. Many are dancing, but some are not. There's also an array of other activities happening as well. Find and thank the host. Speak with one of the other non-humans. Thank the host. It only matters to thank the person who invited you, who in this case you would assume to be the host. The process of finding her takes a while. You have to ask the server, who has to ask a guard. Finally, you're pointed in her direction. She's an older woman, clearly a wealth. Life has been kind to her, which reflects in her soft appearance. You approach and do as you intended, extend your gratitude for the invitation. Oh, no problem, my dear. This is an event for the whole village, and I personally feel like that includes you as well. Do let me know if there's anything we can do to make you more comfortable. We've never actually had, fungal guests before. She seems nice enough. You're glad you made yourself known. Now we're reputable, even though we're still a loser. My yearly goal. That all matters. Reputable. You have consistently been a good person. Finally, you give her a kind farewell and let her resume her business. You stand to the side to compose yourself when you hear a nearby clinking noise. It came from not far away. You quickly realize it was the woman you were just talking to, the host. Thank you everyone for attending tonight. This village is a community. We're blessed to all be here to see the start of a new year. Let's all do our best to meet back here again next year. A toast to our village. The others all create their own clinking sounds in response, bringing their various mugs and steins together. After the brief speech, all the sound that disappeared from the room returned. It occurred to you that you had not yet partaken in the dancing, and the night was drawing ever closer to a close. Closer to a close. Or dance. Dance. Why not? You take the floor, doing your best to mimic what the others around you were doing. It takes you a moment, but eventually you feel like this is what you were born for. Nice. You spin and weave and duck and dance happily. Eventually others take notice and everyone on the floor wants a chance to dance with you. Over time, the room grew slightly less full, perhaps a little quieter. It's almost time to leave. Return home. For some more food? Nah, we're just gonna return home. Early to bed, early to rise. You have had a nice night. There's nothing wrong with heading out before that could change. The walk home was pleasant. You find yourself glad you attended. As you grow older, you look back over your life. You finally gathered. Oh my god, our humanity's at 5. Oh my god. You think back to the witch who created you and can't help but wonder if everything met her expectations. You wonder if you're the daughter your parents had hoped for. Ending after all this time. You have grown up. Even though we're a loser. We made it. I understand now. These are higher ranked mushroom girls, right? Right. That's how it works. It's like original one was mold. I think I'll do at least one more run to close this out. And skip. Dark weathered tome. Glimmering music box. Old bottle of medicine that sat unopened. Weathered tome. Once it had been said to the recluse that knowledge's power, they weren't sure about that. Books often contain fanciful things. Things that the recluse never got much use out of. But perhaps they would be more useful to their daughter. Gain trait tone. Bringing the presence of the witch, she simply gave a smile. How perfect. After the brief detour to meet with the witch. Skip. Growth. Struggles to be achieved without presence. Offer me that which embodies the emotion you would provide for your daughter. The recluse pondered for a moment, thinking of what they had to offer. A deteriorating book of poetry. Prized gem fragment. We'll just go with this. Spiritual route. If there's anything worth showcasing the sheer wonder the recluse would have for their daughter, it was a small glittering fragment they kept secret. Like a brilliant emerald, it glittered unlike anything else the recluse had ever seen. But even they understood that beneath its surface coursed something ethereal. Returning to the witch, the recluse held out their offering, but the witch holds up her hand in protest. It's a beautiful thing to offer such passion. Merely the intent alone shall suffice. Feeling a tender hollowness, the recluse declined an answer. What to the flowers this time? If someone wanted color, where else was there to consider? The recluse decided to make their way to a particularly idyllic field of flowers. The field was filled with an overwhelming amount of choices. Before long, the recluse narrowed the options down to a few. Milkweed, forget-me-nots. What's that? A pumpkin? Bleeding hearts, foxglove. I like the purple. Seems cool. Wild foxglove. Those flowers had always enchanted the recluse, standing tall at the edge of the path. It was as though they were luring them, tempting them to stray from the path. Perhaps today the recluse just might. An edge of temptation can't be healthy. This is actually a pretty nice palette. The recluse returned to the witch's hut, colored item in hand. Skip. Pay me now with wealth. We'll do life again. Names. They're hard. Eggplants are purple. What else is purple? Bruises. Probably not a good thing. I know, I'm just call her Regina. Just totally good name. One day you awake slightly earlier than usual. In your somewhat somnambulant state, you hear a ethereal croon originating from your garden. When you go out, you spotted a small fairy clad in purple sitting amongst your crops. Catch the fairy to sell in town, offer the fairy a coin, hunt the fairy to use as food for your daughter, build a small fairy garden in your daughter's room using supplies. I don't know if they want money for the fairy garden. Without delay, you quickly gather your supplies. Greenery, some common foods. Hell, throw in a drop of blood. Fae love that sort of thing. After consulting some books to ensure that it's in the appropriate space, you lure the fairy in with treats. Though they seem unsure at first, the fairy eventually accepts your offer of a home. Though your daughter is not yet old enough to appreciate this pet, You sure she will in time? The decision being made, life continued. Lack of hungry birds, nuisance. I feel like the poison might be bad for our daughter. One day you wake suddenly, discovering that your mushroom has gained enough limbs to propel themselves around the house. The creature toddles on uneasy legs, bumping into objects noisily, and the cute face now shows a vacant expression. Her demeanor seems pensive and unsure, sometimes staring along at unfamiliar objects. Encourage her thoughtfulness. Your daughter's development is going better than expected, and you want to promote her inquisitive nature. You get a collection of unusual things from around your house for her to look at, such as nooks, antiques, and broken tools. She continues to observe the things you bring her for long hours, seemingly finding some enrichment in the activity. The decision being made, life continued. We should rest. Stay in bed. Introduce. One morning, you notice that your daughter is nowhere to be seen. After an hour of searching the nearby area, you find her sitting alone in a familiar clearing. To your surprise, the creature had now taken the form of a young girl. You feel relieved to confirm that witch hadn't betrayed you. At your approach, she turns and smiles at you before continuing to thoughtfully stare into space. Sit with her in silence. I think she appreciates this more. You do wonder about what your daughter is thinking about so intently, but decide not to disturb her. Taking a seat next to her, you appreciate the beauty of the forest and spend time thinking lovingly of their daughter. After nearly an hour, she stands up and heads back home, seemingly finished with her introspection. Whimsical and personable, she's finally not like underdeveloped and feral. Thankfully, you've been taught to read. The decision being made, life continued. Daughter needs food. Get food. I mean, it's kind of impossible to get like food any other way though, so that's my defense. One evening, you discover many footprints outside your home, three-toed and webbed. Some strange creatures have been poking around. You mean frogs? You have heard the rivers of these homes are home to nefarious turtle-like creatures that capture human children only to bring them home and drown them. What? It's like Kappa? Your child isn't a human, but you can feel the leer of envious eyes from the tree line. You know a precious daughter when they see one. By the looks of the tracks, these ones are quite young. Perhaps you can do something to frighten them away from your home. Keep your daughter inside in the evenings, hunt with them, deal with the issues decisively. Purchase a magic ward. Sure. Yeah, money. There are always market stalls to be found catering to the cautious and superstitious folk who want to deter evil spirits. Well, creatures. You head into town to procure some charms, irregular pearl beads strung through warded strings, and quickly go about hanging them around the tree line. The ward seems to work perfectly as the footprints and beady-eyed glares cease. Your daughter is safe for now. The decision being made, life continued. An end. Common purple pixie's parasol incompetent. You're just not good at anything. Your body is made of something slick and magical. You feel it to your or only have one nope and two wealth. You can read. Have a pet. Just as you are about to return home, an unfamiliar type of tree catches your eye. Plump pink orange fruits dangle from a large mass of branches. Upon inspection, you also find plenty scattered around the base of the trunk as well. You get fruit off the ground at random. It's just roll the dice. Grabbing one of the fallen fruits without much thought, You bring it right to your mouth and take a bite. It's delicious and without so much as a single bruise. You finish munching on the fruit as you make your way back home. One day, in need of supplies, you head to the local apothecary. It's always a wonderfully cozy experience inside. You have a particular fondness for a painting hung up near the counter of a mushroom woman, much like herself, with a frog in her lap. Not to mention the vast amount of ingredients and goodies, all readily available to you. Business beats the nitty-gritty of foraging every time. Unfortunately, this time around, you feel a set of eyes staring at you. You turn your neck and barely catch a glance at a strange man following you. He's wearing a look as ravenous and tattered as his wizard's hat. Tell the man off, you're not just some component after all. Tell him off. Angrily turn on your heel and yell at him, I am a person, you know. You can see him visibly pale, taking a handkerchief out of his pocket and wiping the sweat from his brow as he chokes out an apology. While tending to your home, you begin to feel an otherworldly pull towards the forest. Can't resist, and moments later you find yourself surrounded by trees and standing in front of a mushroom-covered hut. Deep within you, you know the witch that made you resides here. Oops. No matter how hard you try, I accidentally clicked on that, I didn't mean to. I don't like that they don't have like arrows. I would like if they had arrows. No matter how hard you try, your body will not listen. You slowly enter the hut. The witch shakes her head and forces you to sit down on the mushroom stool. Do you think that badly of me? That you fight so hard against my summons? I simply wish to check on you. Is it possible to quick load? Quick load this. What? It's a completely different thing. Well, I guess that's what I get. Whatever. The sun is low in the sky, casting a beautiful warm tint across everything that you saw. Today is a particularly beautiful sight, blossoming fruit trees and the wind blowing through grass. Your eyes feel heavy and suddenly you find yourself falling into a deep sleep. In your dreams, you're sitting on a tree branch, there's a flute playing somewhere. And suddenly, the flute is next to you. Attached to it is the vague shape of a woman. I haven't seen you around before. Welcome. Whenever you go to look at her, it feels like she shifts. You can't quite describe her. You probably won't remember me when you wake up, but it's nice to meet you. After sitting in silence for a second, she starts playing again. Where do you go when I'm awake? Sing along. Try to memorize this place. Fly? Sing along, yes? Close your eyes, absently singing along with the flute. Your voice sounds beautiful. Things could not be more perfect. Eventually, before you know it, your eyes are opening. It's dark out. You should be getting home. You feel a crisp breeze, the haze relenting. Pick the flower or leave it. It's a tiny glistening mushroom associated with the fae. Let's see it. There. It's food. Now let's try picking the flower. What's the worst that can happen? In time, if left alone, the flower will eventually die here. When you think about it, there's really no harm in taking it from these woods. Without spending too long in thought, you walk up to the plant and grab the flower by the stem. But when you do so, the flower opens its eye. This, understandably, gives you quite a shock. You leap back, seeing the flower unfold in front of your own eyes. It takes you a moment of processing to understand, but finally you make the connection. This is not a plant after all, it is a beast. I thought this was kind of obvious. Its eyes large, still haloed by the petals that initially attracted you. To be frank, it's hard to entirely understand the shape of it in the commotion. You do understand that it has a hefty central mass with mossy green and camouflaged in with stems and stalks. You also come to understand that this body itself is not a solid form, as it splits horizontally down the middle. Inside is an array of sharp and uneven white stones. Oh god, it's gonna eat us. In another second you understand these two teeth. Before it could make itself even more known to you, it figured it was time to do something. Run. Try to fight. Flee. Simply put, there was absolutely nothing worth sticking around the situation for. Decided it was best to make like a plant monster and leave. Oh god, are we gonna die? As you start to flee, you realize that these woods are different than those near your home. The plants grow in strange ways that affect your normal woods running strategies. You can hear the creature rustling loudly behind you. Finally, you find your feet. You leap triumphantly over a small creek, only to fumble your landing on the other side. You stumble on the rocky terrain, then trip. As you fall, you notice something that makes your body feel like it was submerged in ice water. On the other side of the creek is a small hidden chasm. Beneath you is inky darkness as far as the eye can see. Before you're entirely submerged in the abyss, you manage to grab onto some roots, but just barely. Call your fairy like you've never called before. Please help me. You close your eyes and call out as loudly as you can for your faithful fairy familiar. She's at home, but fairies are never that far away. Barely a second passes before you lose your hold. You begin to fall, and you can see the light fading as you sink deeper and deeper into the chasm. The light begins getting brighter and brighter. Your fairy has arrived. She makes a dive, trying to reach you as quickly as possible. Once she's within reach, she throws some of her own dust at you. Your descent, thankfully, stops there. Then, with her assistance, you're able to just barely claw your way up. Fairy dust is strong, but she's only one little fairy and you're one human-sized woman. She doesn't have quite enough to make it a joyride. After taking a second to stabilize yourself on solid ground, you profusely thank the fairy. You make your way out of the woods, carrying her in your hands so she could rest on your way back home. You leave your home in the later hours of the morning one day, only to set upon a strange woman not too far from your front door. It's immediately apparent that she doesn't notice you. Heck, she may not even notice the house that's just right there. As she stands, this slender, bespectacled woman has her gaze locked up to the sky. She'd be a statue, if not for a periodic wave of the hand, setting errant strands of silver back into a messy ponytail. Watching for a moment, you stand to reason that maybe something's wrong. Plus, she looks harmless enough, maybe she's worth approaching. Can I help you? It's time to scare her off. Put safe, leave it alone. Can I help you? The woman whirls around, caught off guard by her sudden appearance. Oh, I'm sorry, she stammers, before catching a good look at you. Oh. My, you're an interesting creature, aren't you? Her inquisition borders heavily on the familiar, but you let it slide. Are you, by chance, the slippy slimy of these woods? I've heard so much about you. It's such a shame I'm pursuing other interests right now. I would love so much to study you. Sorry, is that weird? That's weird, right? The woman pushes back a series of stray hairs, smiling sweetly through thin lips and eyes that glitter like velvet gems. It's almost enthralling. Alright then, I should introduce myself. My name's Kalia. I am, I suppose, what you'd call a scholar of sorts. I study all range of creatures, both mythical and speculative, ranging from all sorts of quasi-humanoid being to amorphous energies. My primary field of study is in the realm of the Fae. Tricky little friends, I tell you what. Lately, I've been trying to uncover traces of this cheeky bugger, a Fae prince by the name of Cupid. I don't suppose you've seen a foul-mouthed baby flying around shooting at people, have you? Is that real? Is that real? Kalia put a finger to her chin. I do suppose it sounds odd, huh? So there is that little gremlin around here somewhere. My sources have provided me with good intel, I assure you. Okay, but why bother studying if you can't find him? I guess I can let you know if I see something. Oh, that would be wonderful. Definitely seems to be a lost cause looking for him here anyway. Tell you what. Kalia hands you a small handbell made of lightly glowing bone. Take this and ring if you find him. Of course, if you find anything else of notice, I would be thrilled to be notified. Holding out this handbell, you give it a light jingle. To your surprise, it rings out spectacularly. And you know, Kalia leans in close, If ever you like a little studying of your own, well, are you hitting on me? Kilia's face begins to turn red as she looks away, hand on cheek and stifling a giggle. Nothing. Don't be a stranger now. Was that a flirtatious smile? With a grin, she saunters away. You're left feeling a myriad of emotions, though a single question remains. You're not going to, like, get shot by a baby just walking around, right? Walking along the road into town, you spot something large lying on the path some distance away. Approaching, you find a human on the ground groaning in pain. You don't really get it, but some part of them is broken. They look up at you, uncertain but pleading. Help them back to town, play with them, try to mend their injury. Help them back to town. You attempt to... Aw, dang it. Attempt to help the human to their feet, but immediately drop the unexpectedly heavy load. After a few minutes of futile pulling and pushing, the human waves you away in defeat. You couldn't help them, but at least the human doesn't seem to begrudge you for trying. Chilling breeze, it's winter. Skip. Charming evening. The girl of your dreams. Yeah, she's totally the girl of my dreams, sure. Oh, that one. You consider a strange dream you once had. A woman was there, you think. For some reason, you set your mind on finding her. There's no one else you'd rather intend with. Anyway, the gala is in the end. Year, prepare. While on an expedition to a nearby swamp, you'll lose track of time. The sun has already set in the sky, and the trees surrounding you seem more menacing now. As you contemplate your situation, you try to figure out the best thing to do. This card's like different. It's gonna go well, right? If I pick this. Sleeping in an abandoned building. On a quick look around, you manage to locate a strange old building. It's ornate but dilapidated. You also discover that there's nothing preventing a young mushroom from entering. Inside, the building is quiet and dark. Feeling around, you finally find an area that seems suitable to sleep on. Though you have some reservations about sleeping somewhere like this, inevitably, your tiredness wins. The morning light hits your eyes and causes you to stir. This calm awakening is soured, however, upon noticing an audience amassed around you, a full audience. In the sunlight, you recognize this building for what it is, a church. The congregants, having filled in the pews, sing silently as they observed you. Oh God, we've been worshipped. When you arise, they fill the building with applause, but you quickly rush out, unsure of what you've gotten yourself into. We're incompetent. And yet... now we've been worshipped. But we are still obscure. You're woken in the middle of the night. Okay. Excuses rudeness. Especially excuses rudeness, if you ask me. Sometimes, when you lay down to go to sleep, you find yourself remembering a dream you'd had. There's a woman there who said you probably wouldn't remember her, but for some reason you do. I didn't remember her. In fact, so much that you would like to see her again. You know she's not real, but there's something fun about that, you suppose? An imaginary friend that you visit like a real one. One day you make your way back to the same spot you first met her at. The meadow with the flowering trees. In your hand, you grasp a note. A polite request for company. You're not sure if it will help, but it's the only thing you can think to do. Then finally, you just have to fall asleep. In time, an easy feat. As you wait peacefully, you hear a sound you recognize. I'm impressed. Most people don't think about me twice. You sit with her for a few moments. Are you real? Have you always been like this? Can we go somewhere else? Are you real? What a strange question. Of course not. But there are some places where things are a little bit blurry. Dreams and magic mainly. I find it's better not to question it in any case. You decide to follow her advice. The rest of your dream is pleasant. The winter gala draws ever nearer, and you realize you have work to do if your date is ever going to happen. The woman you have decided to invite is strange, otherworldly. To go to the ball with her, you first have to find her. Go to the library for research, try to find her in your dreams. We have really high humanity, we can try. You've only met her once, but the thought of her sticks with you. You're sure that's worth something. The night before the ball, you take a flower with you to bed. You lay your head on the pillow. No! Can I save Scum? Can I save Scum? Come on, can I save Scum? I need this. Have you always been like this? I suppose not. There's a time before this. I lost something important to me, and I came here to get it back. I didn't mean for it to consume me like it did, I suppose. I just got a little greedy is all. My advice is to not be greedy. What you want is never quite as good as it seems. But there's no reason to dwell on that. Let's just enjoy the view. Decide to follow advice. I need to save Scum. Go to the library for research because our humanity somehow isn't good enough. This woman is something extraordinary. You are convinced that she is real and there is something more you can learn about her. A few days before the ball, you decide to go to the local village to do some more research. There are books there that may tell you more. You spend the day poring through books. To be honest, you barely knew how many books even existed before that day. They cover many topics, some aren't even books at all. You try going through local historical documents attempting to find any record of a woman that seems like the one you had met. But you're unable to find anything other than a few scantily recorded documented disappearances. They research dreams, or at least what philosophers have to say about them. There's a theory presented that all life is but a dream. This makes you think of the one, of how she could just be a dream within a dream. Finally, you turn to a dusty section of an unkempt corner of the building. These books seem stranger than others, less polished. It's in the section that you find a book of fairy tales. Utterly flipping through, meaning as a break from more rigorous research, you discover an interesting fable. It spoke of sleepwalkers, those who have rejected the waking world and have slipped to a different plane of existence. The story seems to suggest that the dream world is no less real than our own, simply less permanent. That there is a bridge between the two that one could cross if determined enough. You doubt how useful the information could be. It's just a story after all, but it gives you something to think about. Now we try to find her in her dreams, I guess. Hope it works. Come on! In time you can feel yourself relaxing. Sleep takes you easily. And to your relief, in your dreams you can faintly hear a familiar song. It's somewhere in the distance. You know that this is your chance. Your legs feel like they're made of stone, but you do your best to power through. Eventually you turn your head. There's no need to run. The woman's right there with you. You're looking for me, I assume. Her voice sounds the way Cotton feels. You contemplate what you want to tell her. So you simply say what's on your mind, that there is a ball soon, and you're wondering if she would go with you. There's a pause, then a bright laugh. She grabs your hand. When you look away from her, you're in a mansion. There are others around you, music too. Something like this, she asks, moving with you through the dancing crowd. Does this look like a gala, you suppose? You're not sure you'd be able to tell the difference if you didn't already suspect this was a dream. We can do anything we want. Do you want a different song? You feel like she said one thing, but meant another. She said she could do anything, but in a voice that felt like she was powerless. But aside, the question of what to do next remained. Dance with her. We decide that this event is for one thing, dancing. You take her by the hand and lead her to the floor. The two of you spend longer than you can comprehend on the dance floor, enjoying each other's company the whole time. She's talented on her feet, but moves with a certain melancholy. Your company seems enjoyable enough to prevent her from drifting too far away at least. Eventually, the two of you tire of the timelessness of the night. The other partygoers slow, some disappearing into the air. You don't feel tired, which should be obvious, but still surprises you. It feels like you may not have much time left for her tonight. You can either ask to join her or take her leave. This is surely an ending. I mean, these are both. I think these both are endings. Ask to join her. You consider how to phrase it exactly. You don't want to scare her off after all. Finally, you just tell her you want to come with her. You want to trade your waking life for this other reality, where you can have anything you would like. At first, you think you see a smile, but that quickly gives way to a sigh. Isn't there someone out there that loves you? You wish briefly for the someone to be her. I could not possibly allow you to leave them. Consider yourself lucky. There are those who would cross realities to have what you have. You have no choice but to accept her decision. She's probably right anyway. The rest of that night disappears in a blink, and eventually you realize that morning has come to wake you. Thoughts of your dream girl follow you throughout your day. But in time, you find their memory fading. Maybe today you'll visit your family. As you grow older, you look back. Which, after all this time, even though we are incompetent, we are very good at we're a very good person. We're also worshipped momentarily. I should start one more run, but you know what? I think we can do one more run, like one more run, and then like I'll leave it to like another. Already done this. Test selection of elixirs. Surely the witch wouldn't offer anything that could kill or maim, right? The recluse tried to clear their head of worries as they carefully sipped. In the end, they did walk away safely at the very least. Arriving back to the meeting point, the recluse was excited to report their progress to the witch. Ah, very good, how kind of you. A tear-stained portrait? Silver... Try this. Almost shamefully, the recluse located an old book of poetry from when they were young and going through a phase. The prose wasn't good by any standard, but it would nevertheless serve as an excellent expression of angst and youthful rebellion for their daughter. Returning to the witch, the recluse held out their offering. I suppose all growth comes at a cost, no? Feeling a tender hollowness, the recluse declined to answer. Flowers... Bleeding hearts, cardinal flowers, pumpkin, forget-me-nots. I like blue. A cerulean sea of forget-me-nots bobbed with the gentle breeze. Fitting for a moment that would never be forgotten. The recluse picked one, gently storing it in their pocket. The recluse returned to the witch's hut, colored item in hand. She silently took the object, nodding her head. This works. Let's kill them. After a quick trip to the market, you scattered poison to feed, watching within the coming weeks as the birds grow weak. Slowly they perish, one by one, like ebon angels rebuked from on high. You delight in the graduating silence, the bliss that comes without their hideous squawking. The consequences of their actions brings a smirk to your face each time one drops, and your diligence in reassuring your daughter just how much they deserved it. Not to say, but sure. Plus, it's a proper lesson for her in how to deal with vermin. Nothing more could be done to the birds, the matter was laid to rest. Days gone away from you, already the sun's gentle descent is being swallowed behind the forest's reach. You weren't able to finish everything. the strep strikes. An amateur mycologist in the village recently informed you that he had some new supplies that may interest you. Deciding to take him up on the offer, you come to the conclusion after a brief meeting that he was right. You take home a fine new pouch of soil and you take some of your hard-earned coin. Your task is behind you. You and your daughter return home, each do a nice bath and a simple dinner. And now we're broke. Oh, something's happening. Boldness. Although this development is going better than expected and you want to promote her adventurous nature, you sell furniture and boxes around the home and nearby clearing, giving her more opportunity to push her ability to its limits. She takes her new appendix easily and often worries you when she wanders off too far. The decision being made, life continued. You'll be responsible. You have to go find work. Get work. Multiplied. Manual labor, demeaning work. But the fruits of your labor will ensure that you and your daughter will survive another day. Decision being made, life continued. We have not raised her right enough. She is underdeveloped and feral again. One evening, you hear a light knocking. It's the witch again. Introduce. Watch her quietly. I don't think he's gonna leave us alone if we just beg him. Sorry, you gotta die, Ken. Catch the ferry to sell in town, hunt the ferry. Offer the fairy coin, I guess. The fairy can barely lift the coin, but seems grateful as they sprinkle a small pile of fairy dust for you to collect. Not sure how to use it, but feel personally better for having it all the same. Decision being made, life continued. An end. It's that one thing. Turn tail and run for the woods. Are we doomed again? Oh, she's cute though. Weeping blue funeral bell. Visceral. Something within you is innately compelled to kill. You find it difficult to contain yourself, like it doesn't work. Forever doomed. No. Can't help but shoot a fearful glance over your shoulder. A critical misstep. Surprised to see her practically within arm's reach. You trip over a jutting piece of rubble and come crashing down under the weight of the stone woman as she collides with you. There, lie still for just a moment. She buzzes quietly, bringing her glowing face very close. She then very quietly tells you something. An inky black and poisonous secret, anathema to your being. She whispers, like struck by swinging. Your consciousness grapples, you're afloat, and black stops entirely. And now you've been cursed. Well, unidentifiable. Working in the dead of night. With little memory of the encounter, you do, however, bear a painful reminder the creatures curse you. Alternatively, yes. Walking through the forest one day, think yes. The road you follow is old, time-worn rivulets and fresh dung pock the path as underbush chokes it from either side. Regardless, the smell of adventure hangs in the air and it smells wonderful. What does it say? What is our character? Blue funeral bell. Oh wait, do we only get to see it like afterwards, I think? I wanna look. Yep, that's us. Over here. 28, right? Wonderful. The wind carries a fragrance clear into your heart and stirs it with an intense curiosity. Before long, you find another, even tighter, path branching off from where you're walking, and soon you break out into a glade. The area is smaller than a hut, but in the center of its intimate bow stands a statue long since forgotten. Examine the statue. The statue is of a woman. The craftsmanship alone is worth commending. The proportions are incredibly lifelike. The figure's hair is short but detailed, with every strand perfectly held in place. There's a pain in the statue's eyes, one of loss and grief. It seems standing there that she is almost making eye contact with you. Suddenly aware of your surroundings, you feel a slight discomfort on the breeze and cast your eyes away from the girl's stare. Underneath, a plaque makes up the base of the statue. Without the skill to read, however, you can only surmise that this is a grave marker, one for a girl long lost to the world. You pause for a moment before turning your attention back to the glade at large. It feels as though there is a presence watching you from beyond the trees, but you chalk it up to nerves. What does this mean? Undo. Oh, I understand now. So we can choose whether it fails or not by clicking this button. So I shouldn't have clicked that earlier because it was actually guaranteed to fail. While the opening is small, there's enough room to wander around. Trees on all sides prevent you from leaving, aside from the way you came, and a thick canopy prevents light from flooding in, leaving only the spare ray of illumination. There really isn't much to the glade aside from the plants littering the forest floor, several different herbs that have been cultivated to produce sublime results. You meandered around the glade, eventually finding a plant you originally mistook for a bush. Its branches are heavy and the primary source of the fragrance you've caught on the wind. You break out a pace, enamored by this aroma, and store it on your person. Leave the glade. Feeling as though there are eyes watching you, gather yourself and head back toward the more familiar paths. Fragrant rosemary, a herb you found lying around. Its scent is sweet and long-lasting. While wandering the woods near your home, you suddenly hear something rustling in the foliage ahead of you. Before you can react, a large— oh no, it's a Borgin. Just snack it once of your life. Oh my god. Got to use money for this. You Remember the knife tied to your hip and whisper a small thank you to your caretaker who's taught you to never leave home without one. Without hesitation, the pig begins barreling in your direction. As it is about to gore you, you veer to the side and brandish your knife. You just barely manage to clip the boar's side, your efforts resulting in only a narrow victory. It turns to attempt a second attack and is met with another cut from your knife, this time taking off part of its ear. Finally, it seems to no longer find the fight worth it and flees back into the woods. You wonder what the boar will do now and find yourself thinking of that clipped ear. Perhaps the two of you shall meet again someday. For now, you head home victorious. Mope swine! There's a pig you left your mark on! While walking down a heavily wooded path, you notice a disheveled woman. Oh, it's that one cursed woman again. I think, right? Skip. End her suffering. I guess we're actually very good at this, so sure. I wish set this one up for you. All you have to do is finish the job. Oh, fail? Really? No! Listlessly watches as you produce a poison blade and somewhat irritatingly simply stares off into space as you push it into her side. A little shaken by her utter lack of reaction, you look down at the bloody blade in your hands and then back at the doomed woman still slumped against the tree, breathing shallowly. She doesn't die. You aren't sure if you're clumsy, impotent, or simply thwarted by the magic of the witch. Bitter and a little embarrassed, you leave the woman to her torment. You will have nothing more to do with her. Feel a crisp breeze. Just gonna keep using violence, I guess. Not embarrassing. You kneel down, investigating the broken thing before you. How foolish of it to allow this to happen. It'll be better soon, at least. You make quick work of the obstacle before you. It almost feels pathetic to waste your talents on something like this, but you suppose it never hurts to practice. You kick the refuse to the side of the road, happily continuing on your route back to town. Dripping. Her expression changed. A particularly deadly mushroom with a rather unremarkable appearance. One day, without realizing it, you had stayed in the village much later than intended. The sun is fully set and darkness has enveloped all. Thankfully, you're fully capable of taking care of yourself. You know the settlement well, and the lack of sun does not change that. You decide to take a shortcut through an alley, but to your surprise, there are others there as well. Quite a few others, in fact. It quickly becomes apparent to you that most of the alley's denizens are going into a single door, one that, when opened, you can hear the faint sound of revelry and triumph through. When they go to leave, many have small trinkets and seem tired from a long night of cheering. We'll just do this. After a while of spying, you get the impression that people are free to enter. Your people, basically. So you figure it's safe to investigate further. As you step inside, the roar of the crowd grows in volume and clarity. It takes your eyes a second to adjust to the dim light. You move past a few tables full of merchant goods into a large room full of people. At the center of it all is an arena topped with a fighting ring. The ring is currently in use as two combatants circle each other. One fighter is a man in a crude grasshopper mask constructed out of dyed linen and leaves. He moves with a quick staggered step, often feinting at his opponent. His opponent, a tall figure, largely obscured by a dark cloak, counters nimbly, keeping low. You watch as the grasshopper man grabs the cloak, using it to pull his opponent around the ring. You find yourself drawn towards the crowd. The mood of the fight is simply intoxicating. Before you know it, you're whooping and hollering with the rest. Finally, in a thrilling conclusion, the caped fighter manages to subdue the crude grasshopper. They triumphantly suplex the masked man to the joy of the crowd. Though initially slightly concerned for the man's health, you find that both fighters have support immediately afterwards. Slowly, the crowd begins to dissipate. What a thrilling event! As you go to leave, a chubby woman wearing an elaborately decorated pair of glasses stops you. I've never seen anyone quite like you before, Liv. If you ever wanted to fight, come back here anytime. I think that we could help you be something spectacular. You accept a scrap of paper the woman hands you. On it lists her name and where to find her. After giving her a quick farewell, you dash back home with much to consider. I thought we couldn't read. It's nice out today, so you've decided to have a picnic. After wandering around for some time, you come across a quaint house with a bell. Just as you begin to wonder what purpose it serves, the bell rings and several children run out and begin to play. A small group of them take notice of and subsequently surround you. With your curiosity sorely piqued, you have a few ways to proceed. Let's not kill the children. Curtsy and politely introduce yourself. Children are a nuisance. Are you allowed to get rid of them? Invite them to join you. Clumsy in the kitchen is understatement. Your creations are unfit for human eyes. Never intended for this meal to be shared with anyone, and it shows. Perturbed by the sight of your food, most of the children leave. Well, that's a win for me. Some boys stick around and try tasting it as a test of courage. Some gag, while others proclaim it actually tastes fine. More for you, suppose. At the end of the day, food is food and you're not picky. You finish it with no issue. A chilling breeze greets you one morning, heralding the approach of winter. I think we can do this. Right? Even though our robustness is bad. Oh. Dangerous quest. In your travels, you have been told of some particularly challenging quests, possible tests of your merit. Of the potential opportunities for glory you've heard, you decide to slay a terrible beast, participate in an underground tournament, battle a deadly swine. Actually, don't do the quest. I want revenge on that pig. You recently heard rumors of a massive pig attacking hunters and farms near one of the forest's borders. People say it's a monstrous beast twisted by some strange growth sprouting from its body. With it already causing several serious injuries, there is no doubt whoever hunts it down would receive glory and praise. You don't want to take this lightly, though. You'll prepare for now and head out near the end of the year for this hog hunt. While foraging, one day you discover a dilapidated outhouse in the middle of the forest. You wonder what it's doing out here. After all, the surrounding area is all land that has been clearly abandoned for some time. Inspect the facility, use the facility. Inspect it, please. Wait, you're not actually going to— well, I guess it is your wheelhouse of Mushroom Girl. A noxious wheelhouse, but yours nonetheless. Inside, there's really only a massive smattering of cobwebs and dust. But you are mildly excited to find a burlap pouch next to the pit latrine seat, along with a heaping helping of night soil just waiting for the electric adventurer to come and collect. I collect to do— huh? Hold on, what? Bit on the news with the whole poison aesthetic, ain't it? As you leave, you carry a prime bounty of fresh fertilizer. Who knows where it'll come in handy. Oh. This is awful. This is awful. You're waking in the middle of the night. It's that guy again. No one will miss him. I believe in us. How quaint. It was so rare for life to just hand you a treat like this on a silver platter. You briefly comfort the man, offering to bring him some tea. A hot cup of tea sounds superb. Thank you for the kindness, ma'am. You have sips of tea, obviously. He's completely unaware of what's in it, a most concentrated essence of yourself. Before he could realize what was happening, it was already out. For some people, it's like you're simply taking out the trash. You're certain there's quite a list of people who shake your hands for this. You rinse his cup and content yourself by thinking of all the different ways to dispose of the body. Damn. Now I'm really crying. Certain death, which is really poisonous. While aimlessly wandering around one day, you decide that the best use of your time would be some scouting. Isn't this one like... Oh, it's a flower. Pick the flower. Try to fight. Oh. Flee. So it costs nothing. As soon as the impulse hits you, you take off. The unfamiliarity of the terrain barely matters to you as you let your feet guide your path. Finally, as you reach the edge of the forest, you collapse as acceleration passes you. The thing had stopped giving pursuit ages ago, and yet you still kept running until now. Perhaps at a certain point it became more about the excitement of the chase. Nevertheless, you are safe. Make your way home, thinking about the strange creature you had encountered. The end of the year has finally come and you can no longer risk putting off your hunt. The monster pig that you had heard rumors about has only continued to harass the townfolk. With the snow and chill of the winter, villagers already have enough difficulties hunting without some monster pig running wild. Hoping that you've conditioned your body well enough, you must make your final preparations. Probably this one. Your body's so low. You're trusting that it served you well in the past, but this beast might require something deadlier to take it down. After thinking on it for a moment, you decide to head towards a weaponsmith you've heard good things about. You tell the pale, muscular woman about your hunt and she ponders your situation briefly before bringing out a few different weapons. One item in particular calls out to you, a large spear with a big spade-shaped head. The weaponsmith confirms that it was designed specially to take down a large game, and it would probably work well for your purposes. You expertly haggle the price and leave happy with your purchase. Prepared to the best of your abilities, you must now set out on your hunt. All you really know is the general area the beast has been spotted in, so you must come up with a way to locate it. Just wander in the forest, try to track the swine. Track them. Being secure in your tracking abilities, you set out, keeping your eyes open from any sign of the beast. For a while, you find nothing, but once you get deeper into the woods, you spot tracks that are too large for a normal pig or boar. You stealthily follow the tracks until you begin to hear low oinks and grunts. Then you move just close enough to see the source of the noises. The pig. We're safe. It seems completely unaware of you at the moment, giving you a decent advantage. You take this time to examine the creature. Before you is a massive pig. It stands nearly as tall as a horse, but built much bulkier, while the size alone is odd. You notice two things about the swine that seem familiar. The first is the fact that the beast has a chunk missing out of its ear, as well as a long gash on one side. Then a familiar trait is the fungal growths sprouting from its body. They not only match you in shape and color, but they also give off a familiar magical aura. You are now more sure than ever that you and you alone must deal with this creature. Fight it with your knife. Try to take control of it. Fight it with your spear. Sneak attack. Why is their spear like so bad? Let's go for potency. Potency is pretty high. You face the swine with your trusty knife in hand, waiting for the beast to make a move. The pig lets out a roar before it charges towards you. It moves far quicker than you. What? This isn't fair. It moves far quicker than you expect and is able to clip your leg with its charge. You manage to recover from the blow, but before you can strike back, the beast kicks you in the gut. Unfortunately, you are losing control fast and panic begins to overload all your senses. You scramble to your feet and turn to run when the deadly pig bites down on your forearm. You fight to escape. Thankfully, your arm tears at the socket and comes off, freeing you from the beast's grasp. This is a small price to pay for your safety and you take the opportunity to sprint back home. You make it back, though your quest was a failure. That night, as you go to sleep, you contemplate the events of the day. Perhaps you weren't able to hunt it as expected, but the more you consider it, the more you realize something. That pig will not be hunting after today, not after the large snack of poison it ingested. Though your defeat was humiliating and you will quite miss your arm as it goes back, at least it is dead. You sleep soundly knowing this. My achievements. You fought and lost a battle against a deadly beast, but you won the war. Wow. As you grow older, you look back over your life, think back. Yes, after all this time. And she's very sad. But also she's cute, but also she's very sad, but never did do anything with that. My voice is dying, so I think I'll leave it off on this. And maybe I'll play some more of this like later. Look. Cute. I still don't understand how this works. How are they separated? So there's like 1 star, 2 star, and 3 star, and this is just like... The middle thing is actually like the number of characters you've seen in those, I guess. So like I said, my voice is dying. I'll take my leave. Like, so far this is a surprisingly amount of stuff in this game. And I was kind of amazed how long like some of this went. So yeah, definitely I have to say it's just like, holy shoot. This is a good game. I can't believe this is just a demo too. So I don't really have too much to say about it, but maybe I'll play more later. But my voice is actually dying, so yeah. Thanks for watching.